not talk about family when family's all that we got. Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 35, Too Fast, Too Furious, Lap 4. 2 and 2 makes 4. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe 2, and this episode's brought to you by Miami 5 Star, the #1 Miami yacht rental service. Whether you're looking for a 48-foot Sea Ray Sport all the way up to a 116-foot Azimuth Flybridge, they have them all. Miami 5 Star is the leading yacht rental and yacht charter provider of Miami, South Beach, and all your favorite Miami yacht destinations, including the Bahamas too.
Now, do they offer any yachts that have room for cars on them?
You know, depending on how you park it or jump it, seems like there's a lot of car space on these yachts. They're pretty big.
I don't want to yacht shame because Carter Verone is able to afford a yacht and I cannot afford a yacht. If I could afford a yacht, I don't know that I would have one because I don't, maybe, who knows. Anyway, his yacht doesn't seem that big and he's got room for a car on there, so I think maybe
it's pretty
Miami
big.
5 Star, any yacht can have one.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe, this is the first time that we've known how Brian got from California to Miami. Doesn't that add a new layer to this movie?
Not really.
Oh yeah, no, okay, cool. I thought so.
Do you think it does?
No, the
that
only note that I made was like, oh, I know where he got that car. And
and then he doesn't
it.
use the car for the rest of the movie, essentially?
Yep.
Exactly.
That'll do it. Joining us a little bit later, I still don't know how to pronounce his name. We're going to find out later. Chris Mollica. He will be here later after the break to talk about this movie. But before we get there, Joe, let us first go to extracurricular activities.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Okay, cool.
I like that we do this show at least every 2 weeks, and you forget almost all of our segments every time.
I do.
Or you're the best actor in terms of being excited for the things that we always do.
I promise that I'm not a very good actor, and my mom always would say that, like, my face cannot tell a lie type situation. Like I'm really bad at being fake surprised. So no, I genuinely forget every segment that we do over and over again. So yeah, extracurricular activities.
So what have you been up to since the last time we recorded? Because we recorded
we
last
recorded
week,
in between,
put out
but we
the
held it.
Turbocharged Prelude, but we did not do this segment. So what have you done since the time we recorded the first Fast and Furious Lap 4? I
went to Dallas for work.
Oh yeah, you did.
It was a fucking really cool time. So there's many facets to my Dallas story. Mainly, we took an Uber to the Stockyards in Fort Worth. Do you know what this is?
No.
An old rodeo town. Okay, it's like
cool,
cattle.
Cool.
It's like a cattle sales town that has a rodeo. And we were gonna go to a rodeo, but we got there late because like my boss held up one of my coworkers in a meeting, and you know, because like we were there for work, so we had to like pretend to be doing work, right? But we went to the Stockyards, which was this really cool place, and it's like we went to this steakhouse. And it literally looks like what they modeled Texas Roadhouse afterwards.
Cool.
You like go in, it's like red lighting, wood, like it's very Texas Roadhouse, but in an actual place. So I think it was called like H3 Ranch. We went there. We had some steaks. That was delicious. We decided, we tried Whataburger, which sucks. Sorry, anybody that lives in Texas.
You don't like Whataburger?
It's garbage. It's a fucking
no,
glorified.
I like it.
It's a glorified Burger King, dude. I mean, like...
Here's what I like about Whataburger. Here's where I'll defend it. I like
What?
that it's a mustard-based burger. I love that about it. Like, I feel like it's closer to the kind of burger that I like to make on my own.
Okay.
Also, Whataburger is great because it's A, 24 hours, B, offers breakfast from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. If you went to Whataburger and did not get the honey butter chicken biscuit overnight, you missed out. Because honey butter chicken biscuit, better than the burger. The burger's good. The burger's not spectacular.
It's Burger King, dude. It's like, it's not that great, yeah.
It's better than Burger. Well, I also like Burger King, but...
I'm not talking shit on Burger King. I'm just saying, like, you can't compare that to In-N-Out. Like, the argument that my friends have is always Whataburger versus In-N-Out. And In-N-Out is so next level compared to Whataburger. It's, like, not even funny.
It's not, though. Like, I don't know. I don't understand how you're such an East Coast kid and you have such a boner for In-N-Out. In-N-Out is...
I fucking love it.
Glorified nothing. Like, it's not good.
No, it's incredible. Are you high right now?
No, if I was, maybe I would like it.
It's so good. I mean, I've never eaten In-N-Out not sober, and it's been amazing every single time that I've eaten it. It's incredible.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
They're not in the same wavelength. First of all, In-N-Out's the cheapest of all of them, which is frightening. Like, that's scary because it's the best quality of all of them. Okay, In-N-Out, McDonald's.
What, either or?
Yeah.
Oh, McDonald's.
McDonald's over In-N-Out?
Well, so
You
I
just
don't
have
know.
garbage palate then. You're just fucking terrible. Oh my god.
I don't know, man. Like living in Austin for 2 years, there was an In-N-Out, which because you got there, you ate there when
That's the
you
first place I
visited me.
went. Of course.
I know. There were Whataburgers. There were also local chains that I'm sure Wes has been to that are also sort of modeled after.
That doesn't count. That doesn't
Whataburger.
count though. Like a local chain doesn't.
But it's
count.
basically it's a Whataburger in disguise. You know what's actually really good? I don't know if you've gone to. Did you go to Pete Terry's?
No.
Pete Terry's is good.
Cool. Another random small. First of all,
No,
In-N-Out.
that's not a small chain. That's a Texas. It's on par, I would say. I don't know for sure. Maybe Wes can write in. Mr. and Mrs. Wes can write in and say if Pete Terry's versus Whataburger. But Pete Terry's is not like a local. Like there's at least a dozen or something. I'd say in Austin. There's a bunch of them.
I have one love, and it's In-N-Out.
I know, and
I
it's
can't-
crazy. But anyway, go on.
So we went to Whataburger, which was garbage. No matter how Texas brainwash you've been.
Ugh.
So I highly recommend don't go there or just go to a Burger King instead. Same thing. And then what else did we do? Oh, I went and I pretty much lived on like liquor and one meal a day for like 5 days.
So it's
And
what
just-
you do in Connecticut, but down in Texas.
Just less meals. I mean, like it was like more liquor, less meals. I found some cool bourbon bars in Dallas. They were cool. I think one was called Parliament or the Parliament. It was fucking awesome. They had great bourbon selection. So yeah, I was just drinking my way through Dallas. On the way out, I went to In-N-Out because I needed to cleanse myself from that
Ugh.
horrible fucking Whataburger experience, and it was incredible. And
Did
then,
you have any barbecue while you were down there, or just
yeah,
burger chains?
I did. No. I went to the Pecan Lodge in Deep Ellum in Dallas, which is like their big strip. I know Austin has one too. You know what I mean? Like it's like the bar. Incredible barbecue. Fucking awesome. I was really, really impressed with it. We got like way too much food. Like my coworkers and I all ordered different shit. We had like the fucking fried chicken, which was awesome. I got ribs. I got brisket, pulled pork, like this like monstrous like stuffed baked potato that had like pulled pork on it and like mac and cheese on the baked potato. That was like, it was cheap as shit. I think I spent like $15 on barbecue, which is incredible for me. You know what I mean? Like barbecue's usually really expensive up here. I got like a cookie that was like a cookie with toasted coconut and pretzels and like toffee and chocolate chips.
Oh, so that's kind of like the cookie that not to brag, not to humble brag for work, but like the cookie that JetBlue Mint gives you when you fly across country. It's that kind of cookie. It's just basically like the kitchen sink. It's just like all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a delicious cookie.
Yeah, it was great. So we got that, and that was it. And then I just drank a ton. So yeah, it was cool. Got to see some friends.
How long were you down there? 5 days?
Yeah, 5 nights. So like 6 days, 5 nights.
Cool.
Yeah, that was it. Then I was like dying to get home because I wanted to smush a fucking cat. Came home, did that, and am getting ready to go on I'm getting ready to come see you, which we'll talk about, and then I'm going on my birthday trip. So I'll have some cool, more adventure stories coming up soon.
Yes, you will. Yeah, my annual weekend-long barbecue is this upcoming weekend. I've been getting
Family barbecue.
I feel like I've been getting requests because I don't know if it's just people being nice or people because they actually want to go, but they're like, I can't come here, or I can't come this time, but do one at the end of the summer too. So I might do one at the end of the summer too.
Okay, that's cool.
But I owe you at least 1 or 2 trips up there because I feel like I just haven't gone up there in forever. We were talking about that a couple episodes ago,
haven't.
But
But I've been like all over the
we'll make
fucking
that work.
place, doing all kinds of weird bullshit, and also the weather sucks, whatever. But yeah.
Yeah. So since we last recorded, I went to a wedding by a future guest of this podcast, Christian Larson. He'll be on here at some point, lap 6 or beyond. He got married in Brooklyn a week and a half ago, and I was one of the
Same time I was in Dallas because we were talking about it when we were there.
Yep. And I was one of the 4 best men, and so I was reporting from the scene there. He had Coronitas, little Corona, little family. So that was
a little bit of family.
I felt at home right there. And then I also had a barbecue for some friends that I went to this past weekend, Memorial Day. So I was scouting out. I got a very simple but tasty tricolor pasta recipe, like a pasta salad recipe that I'm going to make for this upcoming weekend. Really easy to do. So I was sort of scouting that out. And I also found out that the friends who threw the barbecue are pregnant. They'll never be on the show because they don't give a shit. But
they're both pregnant?
Yes, they're both pregnant. No. But, my friends who threw my going away party that you went to and you met,
yes.
She's pregnant.
Oh,
so
cool.
That's very cool. Yeah,
I know them. Yeah, that's cool. I always hate when people say that, like, we are pregnant. It's like, no. Honestly, the woman's doing all the fucking work here. Like, you're not pregnant.
That's true. I was just saying it because
I know it's like the proper right thing to say. I get it.
I'm not saying it for like political correctness. It's just easier. I'm also overthinking it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I hate when men try to take well, I do some of the work too. No, you don't. No, you fucking don't. Like, this is firmly a woman is pregnant. You were there. I don't doubt that. But
You did half the work up front, and then your job is done.
Exactly. Like, you do my equivalency of work on this podcast worth of pregnancy. Like, I do very minimal work.
So what
up
you're saying
front.
on this podcast is you're just jerking off into a cup, essentially?
Yeah, it's not even delivering it.
It's not even sexy. It's just like, here's my part. Here's my work. Here, take this cup.
And sometimes you walk in and see it, like, while it's happening. You're just,
Ugh.
Yeah.
Just disgusting. That said, if you want more of our stuff, go to patreon.com/toofast2forever. Support us over there. So here's a couple actual important, cool, fun little updates about Patreon. Number one, we shared the Fast and the Furious Minute document over there.
Ooh.
So if you're a patron of any level,
I wonder if Cassie Wilson read it.
shout out Cassie, you can check out our Fast and Furious Minute, the document over there. Check that out. See all the license plates and model numbers that you could ever ask for.
Yes.
Also, when schedules, when timing allows, which I think should be most episodes, I'm putting over there the intro part, this part of the podcast, up until the guest joins. I edit that and I put that up
the fun part,
in
maybe?
its entirety.
I said maybe the fun part, maybe the not fun part.
If you like us, it's the fun part. If you like the movies, it's the not fun part. So it depends
True.
on your perspective.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
And I feel like if you're supporting, although I don't know, if you're supporting the Patreon, you like us, so it might be the fun part. I don't know. I also, in a related news, there's a Cage Club Patreon too. If you want to support that, all the money goes in my pocket. All the no dollars that there is. But I put an entire Cruise Club episode up there today. I was just like, here you go. Here's a finished episode. Just go at it if you want it. So there's something there. But yeah, patreon.com/toofast2forever. We also have an email address, family@cageclub.me.
You do.
I feel like I need to sort of phrase this in a different way because now, Joe, we're getting messages all over the place. You know,
We
getting
are, and
messages on
I was gonna
Facebook.
don't spoil my fucking fun here because you
won't
know it's gonna
spoil it.
happen. Okay, go ahead.
We also have a Patreon comment, so I put up on
Ooh.
Patreon 2 weeks ago. You know who it's from because we got the one patron over there. But I posted the thing. I was just like, maybe this is cool. Here's the first 40 minutes of this episode. And Cassie commented and said, yay, this is cool. Just rewatched this at work this week, and it's still my number one favorite. Talking about the first movie in the franchise, The Fast and the Furious.
Damn,
So,
we're getting messages all over then. Okay.
shout out Cassie. Thank you for
Being awesome.
supporting
Just
us.
being awesome in general.
being
first.
awesome, commenting, loving these movies, all that sort of fun stuff.
Hopefully liking us. Maybe me, but I mean not Joey, but at least me.
Liking power rankings. Number 1,
Joe too.
Joe 2. Number 2, Whataburger. Number 3, me.
In-N-Out would definitely be 1. I would be at least 2.
All right, Joe, we've got 3 emails to our email address today.
Can I go first though? Can I talk first though? Because I got a little bit email-ish news.
Sure. I mean, that's chronologically out of order. That's a timey-wimey situation. It's time out of, slipping through time, but go for it.
It's not an email, but we got a message from our listener Nick Burris. He sent us some pictures of him at the car show with his truck, and then he also sent us some pictures of him at which is super appropriate to us, the Furious 7 cars at Universal when it came out. So, did you take a peek at these yesterday?
I did a little bit, but he also sent in other pictures, and I don't want to sort of spoil your fun there, but he's also sending in pictures that our friend Matt, who we've talked about on this podcast, was also, do you remember those signs when me and Matt were talking about the signs like months ago?
Yes. I remember this, and also I thought of you when I saw this. He sent us a lot of these car pictures in, and to me they look like Mondo prints.
When Matt was moving down to Atlanta and looking to furnish his house with cool
Yes.
stuff,
Yes.
he found this one website that has all these like steel etching. It's a car and the character from a movie that drives that car and their
Yes.
name. And there's a handful from the Fast and Furious, but there's also like the driver, and there's all these different people, from Gosling from Drive. There's all these different really cool, Max from Mad Max and stuff like that.
And they look very, if you guys don't know Mondo, Joey's a big Mondo fan. He kind of turned me on to Mondo, although I don't buy them. I enjoy them. And they do new renditions of movie posters, and they all have kind of this styling. He sent us in a lot of these car pictures, of course, Dom and his Charger, and these are really cool. They look like Mondo prints to me. I could definitely panel a room in my house with these, but Rachel would not allow it. So,
But it was cool. Yeah, we found out that Nick is a long haul trucker, and so he's got a lot of time to kill while he's driving from, I think he said, somewhere around here,
North
maybe
Carolina?
New Jersey down to North Carolina.
Yeah, New Jersey to North Carolina. That's what he said. So we hope he's listening. He said he's catching up. He said he's on lap 2 or 3 now, and he's blowing through the episodes. So when he gets here, he'll know that we're talking about him, and we thank him for his pictures, and we hope that he continues to write in and write emails, and I will respond.
You know, I was thinking, it's still weird to me that people want to listen to our podcast. I know that it shouldn't be
very
because
weird.
people
Yes.
listen
It's
anyway, but it's
very
even
strange.
weirder to me that people, and again, weird in a good way, I mean it in a good way, everybody, that people want to listen to more than one of these episodes in a row. You know what I mean? Like,
Same,
it's
dude, I would get so burnt out. I love you guys
so
for doing
much.
it, but God, yeah, I can't take myself for that long. That's why I drink so much, because then I don't have to like hear myself, you know.
And that's why I have to edit these in chunks. I'm just like, I cannot deal. No, actually, it's fun to
me.
edit these, but you know. So we have 3 emails then, so I'm going to get rid of this one because I had
Thanks,
emailed...
Nick, for writing in. That's
Yes,
what I want to say.
thank you, Nick. If you can send us messages on Facebook, which is facebook.com/2fast2forever.
Which I usually respond to, so you get a much better, funnier response if you send
Oh yeah, I
messages.
don't respond to people who email us. We just talk about it on the show. So if you want a response, Facebook
Talk to me.
us.
Yeah, I'll respond.
So Joe, we have 3 emails left. First email from Wells Lamont.
Oh, Wells is back. What's up, Wells?
So this one, I don't know. So the subject line is WSOP Events Bros. So maybe it's World Series of Poker. Maybe
That's
it's
what I'm
What's Up.
thinking. I'm thinking World Series of Poker. Go ahead.
Shout out to Joe 2 for hating the Raiders. I hate them with a passion. This is how he starts the email.
Amen, brother. Amen,
I hate them with a
brother.
passion. Go Niners.
Zach's a big Niners fan. I have no problem with the Niners. I've actually been to Levi Stadium, and I plan on going back this season too. So, yeah, I've been there, and I'll go see the Niners play the Steelers there. So, yeah.
I'm on lap 2, episode 11, so I'm almost caught up watching them backwards, so I'm probably going to be off topic as usual.
That's fine.
And then, because of course it is, because this is what Wells writes us about, here's some more ideas on No Knees Denise. Maybe throughout her life, Denise was on her knees so much that she wore them out and needed a double knee replacement, but couldn't afford it. So she walked all funny, giving her the nickname No Knees Denise.
This is kind of what I thought. That's where I was. That was my original thought, that she just like wore her knees out, just no knees left. She's been on them so long. I agree with Wells.
Maybe it's KNOW, No Knees Denise, the K and the W meaning
She knows the knees?
all about being on her knees because she's a lady of the night and it was her job. Meaning that Rome essentially paid a hooker for a back alley oop-de-oop hoo-ha. No shame, though.
What's a oop-de-oop hoo-ha?
Blowjob, I guess?
I'm assuming so, but I like oop-de-oop hoo-ha better. Can you imagine if you had to like pick up a hooker and you were like, hey, how much for that oop-de-oop hoo-ha?
Well, I feel like, do you remember that episode of Breaking Bad that starts with Wendy gives Wendy's? Like,
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like that's
yeah.
the kind of, backdoor
Yes.
parlance you have to go to these small towns in Barstow and or Albuquerque, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
I would like to get your input on what you thought about this next thing I'm going to bring up right here. In the first one, Brian's sneaking around garages looking for evidence of stolen goods and what the racers are using for race wars. All of a sudden, as he's leaving, he gets knocked out by Vince and dragged away.
Yes.
Dom's face appears from out of the darkness to question Brian about him and Vince's suspicion of Mr. Spillner being a cop.
Yes.
The part I'm referring to is Brian's line. They ask him if he's a cop, he shakes his head no. Dom asks, what are you doing here? Brian repeats, what am I doing here? He says it though like he's stalling for time to think of a lie to
Definitely
tell him.
stalling for time. I agree with you 100%. He's like, what am I doing here? Well,
I've been listening to a lot of Comedy Bang Bang episodes lately because I've been catching up on those because I fell behind. And so
Okay.
a lot of the time when Scott Aukerman, the host, asks a guest who's in character as, and they're improvising as a character, and he asks a question, the guest repeats the question because they're stalling for time, and Scott always calls him out. He's just like, why does it seem like you're stalling for time? Like, why are you repeating your question?
yes.
So still, whether you're undercover as a cop or on Comedy Bang Bang, it's a tell to repeat the question.
Huge tell. Huge tell.
First off, it's a tell if you repeat the question, it's obvious you're lying.
Yep.
The way he said the line should have been a dead giveaway he was a cop. It's like if a cop smells weed in your car and asks if you have any weed, you look up at him and say, do I have any weed? You're done. The cop knows you have weed at this point.
Exactly. 100%.
I think it was bad acting on Pete Walk's part, but maybe
think it was
was
good
how
acting.
the director wanted it.
Yeah, I think it was good acting. I don't think it was bad acting. I think that he was meant to sell it that he was a cop. I think it's really dumb to assume that the character Dom wouldn't catch it. Is what I think is bad about it. Not the acting of Paul Walker's.
Okay, that's
I think
fair.
it's not like Vince. Vince is the dumbest character in this fucking movie, right? And then like
But he's the only one who knows.
That's what I'm saying. So like you can't expect Vince to know and Dom not to know.
Yeah, that's true.
Good.
He says, what do the Joes think about this? I ask you because I've wondered about this for 18 years. Holy shit, do you know what it's like typing that? I feel so old. 18 years ago, I was 14 or 15. So he's a little bit older than me and a little bit more older than you. But
Yeah.
right in that ballpark.
Same range, yeah.
So
Late
actually, here's
30s.
something there's a little bit more of this email that I'm going to get to next, but
Go ahead.
a couple episodes ago, I think Wells was writing in. Remember, he was talking about how all of us, like in the first one, Paul Walker's talking like a normal Southern California white boy, and then all of a sudden he shows up with Roman, and
Real
he's talking like
gangster.
he's black, right?
Yep.
I feel like that's not necessarily, because I was paying attention in this movie in Too Fast, Too Furious about that. And I don't think it's him hanging out with Roman. I think it's just the way that the writers wrote it, because last episode when we had Michael on talking about the first movie, we were asking him if it felt dated. You were asking him if it felt dated, and he said no, not really. Like, there's a couple things here or there, but for the most part, I feel like this movie feels very firmly 2003, 2004, right? Like, this feels more
West
dated.
Coast Shoppers t-shirts give it away, right? Like that's like the most dating of this.
The thing that caught me in terms of that is when there's the famous line about the Gallo 12, the Gallo 24, right?
Yes.
Paul Walker says something like, I got a question for you right quick. And I was like, nobody says right quick anymore. Like, that is firmly, I think, in that wheelhouse of just early 2000s speak. I feel like it's just the writers trying to get into that mindset of, like, what the kids are saying or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it might have something to do with Roman rubbing off on him, but I also think it's just the writers doing their thing, in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair.
Episode 14, Lap 2, talking about blockers. Really funny movie, and the Fast and Furious reference is amazing.
It is.
The actor that makes the reference is hilarious and makes the movie. I immediately thought of you guys when I heard it.
Yeah, you'll probably get back to the episode where or the string of episodes where I'm telling Joey to watch Blockers, because that was involved in here. I love that part of that movie. Actually, I like John Cena too, just in general. And what's his name? The guy from Neighbors and all these movies. What is his name?
Ike Barinholtz.
Ike Barinholtz is really funny. I agree with you,
Yeah.
Wells. He's a good dude. I mean, he seems like a funny dude, so.
Beginning of 7, Shaw and Hobbs have a little tango, and before it begins, Shaw says to Hobbs, "I want the team that crippled my brother," which Hobbs responds with, "There wasn't no goddamn team, it was one man, he's standing in front of you." The thing is, Hobbs was standing behind him, not in front of him. I don't have OCD, but it always makes me yell at the TV.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
I never noticed that before, so thanks for pointing it out.
Weird little thing in Fury 7, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So thank you, Wells, for writing in. Those are some
I
hot
think we
takes. I
covered
like those.
Did we cover the question enough with Paul Walker being the cop? I think so. I told my part of it. Do you feel any different?
It does, in a way, sort of betray the Dom character to not.
Do you think the acting is bad?
I think Paul Walker is not great. I don't know that he's a bad actor. It's either he's a bad actor or not a great actor, because I think he does get better for sure over the series.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's the writing, because this is also sort of what we saw on a more compressed timeline with Hobbs, with The Rock as Hobbs. But I feel like, especially in this movie, he doesn't have the kind of energy in a lot of scenes. Like, he seems like sort of sluggish
movie?
and dragging. In this movie, yeah, in Too Fast, Too Furious.
Okay.
And I feel like it's this growth and this evolution of both him as an actor and him as a character, his ability to act as the character, but also the writers to write for the character.
Yes.
And I think I'm more inclined to dismiss things like that in the early movies, because he
It's a new
doesn't.
franchise.
He hasn't
He
been
doesn't
playing
know
for
it's gonna carry-
15 years or whatever. But at the same time, if this is the first movie, there shouldn't be any kind. Like, you should just be kind of going all out. You know what I mean? So I don't know. You could sort of see it either way. But could it be better? Yes. But also, I'm willing to give sort of everyone the benefit of the doubt, because by 7, Brian was a great, great character.
Yeah, exactly. I hope we answered your question, Wells. I really do. I think we did. I answered it to the best of my abilities. So.
I think so too.
Okay, cool.
Okay. 2 emails left, both from Mr. Mrs. Wes.
Oh, yes. Good.
Back on track for lap 4. What up, fam?
What up, Wes?
Joe and Joey, I appreciate your concern over my lack of email for your Fast and Furious episode. As I explained to Joey, our schedule was off for a bit, and I got mixed up with the release schedule of the
It's all
show.
good, man.
So I was too late to get in for the last episode, but not this time.
No, you're on time.
I was going to wait until the Too Fast, Too Furious turbocharged prelude episode dropped to get my comments in on that as well, but I can't take that risk.
Okay.
I have already, maybe separately from my normal emails, made my feelings known about this weird connective tissue, which he did.
Yes, he did.
And he talks about that
warned
more
us.
in the next email. Of a poorly scripted music video wannabe, so I'm very interested in hearing what you guys think about it, but for now, here are my new episode observations.
Okay.
Right off the bat, I want to say that Michael was a great guest.
He was a great guest. I agree.
He definitely brought a unique perspective to the movie, and I always love hearing first impressions from people who have never seen these before. I also really appreciate someone who can experience something they're not interested in and don't really like, but can still find ways to talk about it in a way that's engaging and respectful of the people who do find some value in it. I was sort of, not that I was worried about it, but when Chris came on and he did his very cutting, very, harsh
I
review
hate
of Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo Drift, yeah.
He had a good time with the episode, and I think it's the same kind of, he was...
I think that we're not, I love these movies, but I don't disrespect somebody else's opinion of not liking them enough for this to be super confrontational, right? Like, nobody's gonna come on and be like, I hate this movie, and we're gonna be like, well, fuck you then.
I hate this movie, and I hate you.
Exactly, yeah. I want to find out why they didn't like it or what's about it. So, yeah, I think that it plays well. Just personality-wise, I don't think that we're like these kind of people, so...
And I also do think, it's just who we are, and it's not like a brag. That's just, it kind of also stems from what Mike and I tried to do when we started Cage Club. It just, there's so much snark on the internet and people trying to hate on Cage because it's easy to do that. We're like, no, let's actually enjoy these movies and find fun things and good things to say about them.
Yeah, even when we watch movies we don't like for other podcasts, you and I always find something that's like, okay, at least this part was fun. You know what I mean? Or I like this about it. So
it's so much more fun to enjoy things than to hate them. You know what I mean? It's
I
fun
agree,
in the
man.
moment to shit on things, but then after it's sort of, it's junk food. There's no redeeming value to it. So I agree.
No, man, and there's so much shit to hate on that really matters.
Yeah.
The movie that you saw, don't hate on. I mean, you could say
like Whataburger.
Yeah, fuck Whataburger. I hate Whataburger and I hate you.
I can tell you from experience that listening to someone who thinks they're being funny by pretending to give something a chance but really just complaining about it is actually very annoying and not entertaining at all.
True.
Also, his answers for the character quiz were the best, and I love how much thought he put into them, which agreed on all fronts.
Agreed, yeah.
Joe talked about the wine passport thing he did with his wife and family. Texas Monthly Magazine did a similar thing in 2017, but with barbecue, which sounds a lot better than wine, but I would do either.
I would do either, but I love barbecue, so go ahead.
They put out a new list every year, but as far as I can tell, their passport from 2017 is still going through this year. We didn't get one, but maybe next year, if they do it again, we'll participate. We've been to a lot of the high-ranking barbecue places around Texas anyway, but I'm a completist and love tracking things, so it would be cool to have a list to check off.
It's just that natural male collector mentality, it so plays into my Pokemon urges, right?
Yeah.
The passport's I just gotta collect them all. I gotta go to every one now.
Did you hear about Pokemon Sleep?
I heard about it, but I don't know what it is.
Dumb. Speaking of lists, Fast and Furious Minute is my favorite news segment.
Is it? Cool, good. That's Joey's idea, so give him all the credit.
When Joe started reading off model numbers and talking about tracking license plates, I almost lost it. I fucking love that stuff.
Well, if you want the document, you know how to get it.
Tracking all that minutia seems so pointless to most people, but I just love a good spreadsheet and data set because you never know when you might be curious about how many times Letty sneers at someone or how many seconds of longing looks are shared between Dom and Brian. In fact, I have my own collection of useless stats for various things. You mentioned the Twitter I run for a different podcast, and for that, I have a pretty ridiculous Excel file with spreadsheets of data and formulas that I can pull out at a moment's notice, and I did that all as a joke. Just for fun, a few weeks before Avengers Endgame came out, I put together a spreadsheet with every bit of MCU media, movies, TV show episodes, and shorts, broken out and filterable by network, release date, time, etc.
Jeez. Awesome, I love it. Dude, I love lists like this. You should make it the BuzzFeed list, because it's impossible for me to find the complete list of Marvel.
FYI, it would take now around 310 hours to watch it all. Similarly, a friend and I have been playing No Man's Sky on PS4, which is a space exploration game set in a near-infinite procedurally generated universe inspired by pulp sci-fi art and writing. That's a game that I bought that I was expecting to lose myself in, and then I just never took that plunge because I didn't want to spend
You didn't want to commit that much
hundreds
time
of hours
to it.
into that game. But I still have it, and I would
I
love to
feel
play
you.
it. I just, haven't.
Okay.
For the last week, I've been collecting data, designing, and testing another set of spreadsheets we can use to more easily track our discoveries and build trade routes and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, it's like this was designed for me. I mean, before I found this podcast, I was kicking around the idea of a Fast and Furious Minute podcast myself, so there you go.
Well, that makes me sad. I'm sorry.
Well, I think it's, in a way, I mean, if this was you, if you
Wes
listen
is
to podcasts...
included. I feel like he's like an extension. You know
he
what
is.
I mean?
He's, Mike's sort of the third co-host, but also Wes is kind of the third co-host. It's kind of like, if you want to do something, you don't have to do the work and it can still exist, and you enjoy it, that's kind of almost even better, right?
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
All I could think about was how the Fast and Furious wiki is pretty good, but how much better it could be with all this data you're going to collect. Sorry that was such a long bullet point, but I'm very passionate about this topic.
I love it too. I look at spreadsheets all day. I work in a lab. For me, that's like the natural place that I went first, right? Like I just got to collect every part of data I can of this movie and go from there. Joey fills in a lot of the the flowery stuff about it, like what is actually happening. Mine's just like very to the point, like this is the license plate, this is the truck, this is the company, everything like that. So
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a writing background versus a science background, right?
exactly, yeah, but it plays well together. So like together, I think we'll have a nice comprehensive setup. So
Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Sciences.
amen. Yeah, true.
I have to assume the producer you're talking about leaving the franchise under bad terms was Neil Moritz, which it was. I remember reading about that a while ago when it first started. It was something about him claiming he wasn't getting his proper cut of the franchise profits or something. I don't know the details, but I do know that he's been with the series since the first movie. Rob Cohen brought him the original Vibe article, Racer X, which we've talked about on here, and they developed the movie together. He also played the driver of the Ferrari that Brian and Dom race before they go to Neptune's Net in the first movie.
Oh fuck, I didn't know that. That's really cool fact.
More than you can afford, pal. Ferrari.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's like one of my favorite lines in the movie.
I think he also plays a cop during a chase scene in 2F2F. On the one hand, I feel bad because he's kind of been the constant in the series since day one, but also most of these old Hollywood guys are probably garbage.
Yeah,
Fair point.
he's probably a douchebag. I agree. Yeah.
And I don't know the details of the suit, but it seems pretty shitty.
Yeah, I agree.
Joe, nice spot on the DT logo. When you mentioned it, I could instantly picture it in my head, but I never made the connection that it stood for Dominic Toretto.
I didn't either, dude.
I always assumed it was just another parts manufacturer I'd never heard of. Joey, Mrs. West was at a cookie workshop thing last weekend, and when she got home, she was telling me all about it, and apparently someone there brought up the question of how many syllables is the word oil.
No way. That's not even true.
Life imitates
I
art.
call
if you can call this
bullshit.
art.
I call bullshit. That can't even be real. But okay, go ahead. I'll pretend like it's real. I don't believe it.
The workshop weekend was near Dallas. I can't wait to find out what Chris thinks, if it's one or two syllables. We're going to find out that after the break.
Yeah.
The workshop weekend was near Dallas, so predictably, most of the locals pronounce it with one. All, probably.
All. Yeah.
All.
Also, she's probably in Dallas. We get a high five. That's really funny. She was probably in Dallas right when I was there, too. That's funny.
However, just like the GIF debate, he says in parentheses, which is my least favorite debate in the world, the real answer is there is no correct answer. I have strong fact-based evidence for both arguments. I'm sorry, Joey, but life is not black and white, and this is one, or two, I guess, of life's gray areas that you'll have to live with.
Fair, yeah.
What was the other thing that I was not going to give up on? It was something from Tokyo. Oh, about who was wrong, the dad or the mom. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Going to die on that hill.
Yeah, it's in you're wrong, but okay.
Lastly, I have another little behind-the-scenes story that probably isn't on IMDb or the Fast and Furious wiki yet, because it comes from an interview with Rob Cohen from about 6 months ago, which I think, if this is the same interview, he's written in about this before.
Okay.
Now, I'm second-guessing if I've already emailed it in, but you didn't mention it, so I'll assume not. And I read verbatim every email you send, Wes, so if you haven't heard it, you didn't send it. You guys kind of joked about the women at the party that were making out. Well, according to Rob Cohen, it was really hot the night that scene was being filmed, so during a break, he walked out in the backyard to get some air and found those two women kissing. They were a real couple at the time, and he asked if they wanted to make out in the background of the shot, so they agreed, and that's why they're there. Then later, he submitted the movie to the MPAA for rating and certification, and they had to make some slight changes and cuts, for instance, some close-ups of Vince's mangled arm, to get the PG-13 rating. They made the changes and got their PG-13 rating, and then after the movie was released, Rob Cohen was talking with someone he knew on the MPAA board. He casually mentioned that he was surprised they didn't ask him to cut the shot of the girls making out at the party, because apparently in the early 2000s, that was enough to get a film an R rating. And wow, how far have we come?
Yes, seriously.
He said the guy immediately got kind of mad and said they didn't catch that, but if they had known that, it would have given it an R. Fortunately, at that point, the movie was out and there was nothing they could do about it. So the lesson here is that Rob Cohen, probably being a creep, may have unintentionally helped normalize same-sex relationships on film. At least that's how I'm choosing to interpret it.
I mean, we've talked about Rob Cohen, so that's the good positive spin on it, Wes.
Yep.
Let's just hope that he normalized same-sex relationships on screen.
I would love it.
That's what I would imagine. I think he saw it and was like, "The future is now, old man," and just like, and just like let these two chicks make out on screen in a non-creepy like he didn't go out in the backyard and was like, "That's kind of hot. Let's put that in the movie." Like I imagine he did.
Well, he might have done that. He just might have told the story better. You know what I mean? Like, who knows how it actually worked out? But
oh god, I think it was he went outside and was like, "Two chicks making out, sick," and then like was like, "Get inside."
What would you do if you had $1 million? Two chicks at the same time, man.
Exactly, yeah.
That's it for me this episode. I'm interested to see where the Fast and Furious Minute segment goes and where we catch up to the chain in a few months. Until next time, stay furious, Wes. So I'm skipping the
Thank
car
you,
picture
Wes.
because I sent one last time. I'm guessing you can play one for the turbocharged prelude, which we did not.
We did not.
If you did already use the last one I sent in, let me know, and I'll send a follow-up. I told them, nope, we did not, so we're going to do that one later when Chris joins us. And the last email, also from Mr. and Mrs. Wes. Turbocharged Prelude, what up, fam? I just want to drop a quick email about the Turbocharged Prelude episode. I'm glad I wasn't totally off base with my impressions of it. Feels very weird and super low budget, and I'm not sure what it's produced for.
Yes, we have no idea. It just feels like out of place. Like it doesn't. It's not necessary. Like I don't know what it was. Like maybe if it was like an extended trailer or something, like in the like that you would see in the theaters, like before the movie came. I don't know.
But it wouldn't make you want to see the movie. Like it'd be like, what? You know what I mean? Like it's not cool.
It wouldn't tell you enough about like the old. Yeah. Okay.
It's almost like a late 90s video game cutscene or like a montage of clips thrown together for a DVD menu. I didn't recognize Minka Kelly because I had no idea who she was. I had to look her up after you guys talked about her, and I don't think I've ever seen anything she's been in. I missed Friday Night Lights because growing up in Texas, I lived it, which is fair. But I also think that you probably would enjoy. I don't know. I think it's not the best show of all time, and I think it's one of those shows that I enjoy thinking about and talking about more than watching a lot of it. But check it out. It's good.
Exactly. Yep.
I did see that this was her first acting role, though. Quite an auspicious start to her career. One other thing I wanted to mention was about the house Brian was in. My impression has always been that this was his actual house. He lived in L.A., but when he was undercover, he was staying with Harry as part of his cover identity as the guy running from troubles in Arizona.
That's
so
a good
I figured
point, yes.
that house is probably where Brian O'Connor actually lived. That's all I have for this pit stop. I'll save the rest of my comments for the Fast and Furious Minute episodes in 2028. Wes.
Perfect. The Brian's house thing is a good point. I didn't even think about that. It's probably because I'm sure he did have a real house and then was staying undercover, right? Like you need to kind of have both. So
I can't believe that neither of us even thought about that as a possibility. Yeah, no.
No, I didn't. It wasn't even on my wavelength. So yeah.
That's why Wes is here to clean up our messes.
Amen to that.
That's all the email. If you want to email in, family@cageclub.me. We'll read it on the episode after we get it. So now, Joe.
Yes.
I have an omission of sorts.
You left something out?
Sort of. So every episode now we're asking for people who listen to write us a review on iTunes. If you want to go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. Write a review for us. We will read it on air. Short story long. I was listening to Comedy Bang Bang last night, and there was a comedian on there who I'd never heard of, and I looked her up on Twitter, and then I found out that she and another woman who both are in UCBLA have a podcast, and so I Googled that podcast, and apparently, recently, Apple has completely redesigned its web interface for podcasts, so you can now search for a podcast, click on the, in Chrome or whatever, click on the link, and then you can listen to a podcast right in your browser. So I was like, oh. So I was Googling Too Fast, Too Forever, and there's a whole bunch of different, there's like Stitcher and Spotify and Google and everything like that. And then I found, of course, our iTunes. So I'm going to take a look there, because I think when I looked the other day, there was not anything new. We still have 13 ratings, all 5 stars, but no new reviews.
What's the omission then?
So what I found was that we had one from April, but it was from the iTunes Australia.
Oh,
so it's a separate review system for some reason. I don't know why.
Very interesting. Okay.
It's from Jake Freer, who has written in. So shout out Jake. And I'm sorry. Like I feel not that it's our fault, but I feel kind of bad that he wrote a review. He wrote a really nice review that I'm going to read now. But he's like, why aren't these fuckers reading my review? Like, do they?
Yeah, we weren't ignoring you, brother. We just didn't know that existed. Sorry.
So Jake Freer, 5 stars on the 25th of the 4th month of 2019. Because in Australia, I guess they invert the days.
Which is the right way to write a date. Don't even get me, because that's the right.
God,
I only
you're
write
full
the
of
date
hot
that
takes
way.
tonight. Jesus Christ.
I know. Sorry, I write the date like that all the time. God.
Great podcast.
Okay.
Love the podcast. I always listen to it while I'm at work. I enjoy listening to you guys talk so passionately about a movie series that means so much to me. Keep up the good work, coming from Australia. Well, Jake, thank you for writing a review. You are right now our only Australian review, so we're big in Australia, so I appreciate that.
Huge in Australia. Blowing up over there.
From the bottom of our hearts, at least from mine, but I also assume from Joe's.
Yeah, from mine too.
We did not mean to exclude you. I don't know why iTunes separates it into a different thing altogether. On that first page,
I'm glad we found it, right? Like that. I'm glad we found it and stumbled upon it. Maybe we have like a ton of like Indonesian iTunes reviews that we don't even know about. We'll have to figure this out now.
There was another country on there too, and I don't remember what it was, and it was still the American reviews. I was like, I don't like what? Like it's
where do we distinguish this? Like what separates them and why? I don't know.
I don't want to offend listeners from other countries, but I feel like if you speak English, you should probably be in the American iTunes. You know what I mean? Like, I understand differentiating for, like, Dutch or German or Spanish or whatever, but, like...
Even then, it's like, really? Like, yeah, I get it. Like, I would see, like, the Japanese or Chinese iTunes, right? Like, those, like, the Asian countries would have their, like, own iTunes.
Well, China doesn't have that at all. You know, China has
exactly,
no internet,
that's what I'm saying.
So yeah, so shout out Jake for thank you for reviewing us. If you want to review us, also here's another thing: if you write us a review, send us a screenshot and I'll read that on air because we might not see it because apparently it's hide and seek now.
Yeah, who the fuck knows? So.
All right, Joe, on the streets, what news about the Fast and the Furious have you seen? There's only one thing I'm gonna share. I sent this to you a couple days ago via Facebook. And, you know, I get Google alerts about all the different actors that we do podcasts about. I also get Google alerts about the Fast and the Furious. Of course, if you were a fan of Zac Efron, and I can't imagine anyone who's listening to this podcast is not a fan of Zac Efron, because there is such similarity between his movies and these movies.
True.
But if you're a fan of Zac Efron, you know from the High School Musical movies, there's two actresses who are as important to that franchise as he is. There's Vanessa Hudgens, and there's Ashley Tisdale.
Yes.
And so because of Zac Attack, because of our Zac Efron podcast, Joe and I love those High School Musical movies. We love those two actresses. Yeah. And so I got an email, Google Alert, Fast and Furious, and it's Ashley Tisdale shares like 100 facts about her life that you might not know. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, what is this weird overlap?
I looked in there, and the first car that she had was a yellow Lexus convertible because she loved the Fast and the Furious so much, and she thought she was part of the movie. And I was like, this is worlds colliding in a way that I did not know was possible. I love it. It made me so happy to see these two very different worlds coming together in a way that I didn't think would ever happen.
Yeah. It's very strange to know Ashley Tisdale loves Fast and Furious. So Ashley Tisdale, if you're listening, please write us an email at family@cageclub.me.
If you want to, so here's a question for you, Joe. If Ashley Tisdale's like, I'm a fan of you too, I will give you one podcast episode, would you talk to her about these movies or about Sharpay 2?
I think that we would bring her in on the premise that we were going to talk about Fast and Furious and instantly divert to Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure 2. Like, it would go straight into the fan fiction, and she would be so creeped out. I mean, like, not that she wouldn't be creeped out by us in
We could
general.
do, like, a slow transition. We could be like, so, you know, in between these episodes, we found this fan
fiction
of, like, You Are My Lifespan.
Fan fiction? Have you ever read
awesome,
any?
and it's like, you know, it's this passionate writer talking about the franchise. By the way, we're into fan fiction because we found this other thing, and now you can't leave.
Exactly. I mean, I would have broken it easy like that. I would have done a nice segue into it, but I would have gone straight to the fan fiction, like, as quick as possible.
Do you have any news that's actually about these movies or no? I feel like it's been a relatively quiet sort of 2 weeks.
I have one little cool tidbit that actually kind of plays to this movie too that we didn't know, and that's that Tyrese asked John Singleton to be his daughter's godfather.
Oh, okay.
And he was, so his
R.I.P.
daughter was
John
born...
Singleton, rest in power.
His daughter was born in October 2018. He's her godfather. So, yeah, he was like, of course, and so they were like super buds. So that was my little tidbit of news that plays into this.
Well, that's sad. That's a bummer, but I appreciate that.
No, it's cool. I mean, it's sad, but it's cool, you know?
Well, it's only sad because he just died. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
it's a nice little gesture. We're now going to rock the vote. I'm going to go to Google News and search Dwayne Johnson president. The top story is watch Lakers GM tell Dwayne Johnson a cringeworthy lie about arranging dinner with the deceased Heath Ledger, which has nothing to do with the president.
No.
But that's one thing. I guess it's just probably the president of the Lakers at some point. I'm also going to search The Rock president. No new news.
Okay.
Trump fires back at, quote, dumb as a rock Tillerson on Putin. Which, if you'll remember, I don't know if I taught it on this podcast or a different one, but Rex Tillerson's son was in my first grade class. So
yeah,
I am a part of history.
I'll never forget any of those stories you've told me.
So New Lap observations and the chain gang. So what... I feel like a lot of my New Lap observations stem from the fact that we're doing the Fast and Furious Minute. Because what I noticed this time is that this movie starts with a lot more energy. Like, the first movie, and we're going to talk about the third minute soon.
Okay,
but
go ahead.
There, like, you know, when we get to eventually, in 2029 or whatever, the Fast and Furious Minute for Too Fast, Too Furious, there's so much happening in the first minute, the second minute, the third minute, like, compared to the first movie, which even though we have the truck jacking, it feels like there's not a ton going on.
I agree.
Here, there's, like, colors, and there's brightness, and there's cars, and there's people, and there's all this different stuff. And I feel like that's exciting. The other thing that I want to point out in this regard is I can't wait to get to the scramble minute, because there's so many license plates that you're going to have to catch, and you're going to spend, like, all day one day writing down license plates of the scramble.
Oh, yeah. I 1,000% will.
What else do you got? What else do you want to talk about before we talk about everything else later with Chris?
My general new lab observation, which isn't a new lab observation, but is a new lab observation, is like, Eva Mendes is fucking gorgeous in
Yeah,
this movie.
I wrote that. I said that out loud. I was like, she is very attractive.
She's so gorgeous throughout this movie, and like, it's always like it's stunning how beautiful she is in like parts of this film, and I'm just like taken aback by it.
Yeah.
That was my general creepy man observation of this lab. But my second observation in this lab is there's so much fucking Pepsi advertising in this movie, which I got from the Fast and the Furious Minute.
Okay.
There's like, he drives the car into a Pepsi sign. Then when they're in Barstow, there's like a big Pepsi sign.
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry.
What?
Your wife, Rachel, shout out Rachel, just texted you and me and said, "All right, Joe, keep it in your pants."
Oh, so sorry.
All right, continue.
Yeah, and so he drives the car into a Pepsi sign in the beginning, like the guy that veers off the road, like that Brian jumps. He drives like right into a huge Pepsi billboard, and then they go to Barstow. He like hits another, like there's like another Pepsi sign there. So sorry, now I'm distracted.
But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the other new lab observations when Chris joins us. But those are, I do like that we're sort of viewing things from, like, I feel like these are the kind of things we have to say up front, because otherwise we're going to have to do so much explaining in the back half. There's another thing that, you know, in the beginning of the movie when they have the street race and they call in Brian, that like they're like, we need a fourth because Joaquin is doing the night shift or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And they call in Brian. I was like, I bet Joaquin's the kind of character that's going to be in You Are My Lifespan, just like this character who's named but not here, that our friend can just.
Anton's favorite character in You Are My Lifespan is the guy that she describes for like 2 paragraphs and then goes, but he didn't have a name because I didn't care. He brings it up all the time, like the guy with no name that she like describes the whole character was just like, he doesn't have a name.
He's the original Mr. Nobody.
I guess, yeah. I guess.
So of note in this movie, there is no necklace, there is no chain. We cannot take a walk down memory chain. There are other chains, but the
many
chain
chains.
is not in this movie. Brian, all movie long for the most part, wears a West Coast Choppers shirt,
which is really cool.
Their
and I wanna buy
logo
one
is
now.
the Iron Cross Maltese cross,
Essentially a cross. Yeah.
sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
But you said that there's another chain he's wearing early on in the movie too?
No, just a lot of people are wearing chains.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of chains. There's a lot of jewelry in this movie. Like, everyone has a chain on, except Brian, that I remember.
Oh,
but there
shit,
isn't-
it's Brian.
Obviously not Dom's chain, so.
So we can't really do that here. And then, you know, next week, we're going to see it at the very, very end. Or next episode, we'll see it at the very, very end, maybe, I think, right? Because
Yeah.
it's
I think so.
there, right? Because he gets it back.
I think so, yeah.
Because that's the whole thing. When he goes back there, he gets the chain or whatever. But we'll talk about that when we get to Tokyo Drift. Joe, the last thing we have to do before we take a break is the Fast and the Furious Minute. Minute 3 audio.
Here.
This is the third minute that we're talking about, right? And this is the second of
Yes.
3 minutes that has no dialogue. So, like, my main
Yeah.
thrust, my main goal in capturing all the dialogue, once again, nothing here.
There's no dialogue. It's just a lot more driving and shooting and stuff. So I got some new stuff. So what do we get? We ended the last one. He's climbing into the cab. He climbs into the cab. The driver pulls out a bat. He's like swinging it at him.
Yep.
We're assuming it's Vince, right? Shoots him with like this thing that looks like a spider, kind of.
Yeah.
And it's apparently just like a tranquilizer because the guy just like passes out pretty much immediately.
It's either like an electronic, like a taser of some kind that's like an instant
No.
taser, or like it's a trank dart, because it looks electronic, but it acts so
does.
quickly that it seems sort of medical.
It does. It seems like they just ketamined him out or something, right? What I noticed is I was trying to figure out what the trucker's wearing. And he has a...
Okay.
I don't know how to say this word. but I'm going to spell it. Meguitar''S hat, which is very hard to see because like of how they're flailing and stuff like that. Do you know what this company does or is?
There's
no T. There's no T. Meguiars.
McGuire's?
Yeah. Do you know what they?
No.
They're like Armor All. They make like waxes and like car shine and tire cleaner and all this kind of stuff.
Huh.
So he's wearing a hat that's advertising that. I couldn't make out what's on his shirt because it just flashes by too fast. And we were getting ready to record, and after like the 6th viewing of it, I was like, I can't fucking do this right now. But yes, so I caught what's on his hat. Speed limit's 35 miles an hour off the exit.
This is the sign where we were saying before that the last minute when I was asking you about
So
New
yes,
Dock
so the
Street.
road is closed, and they're trying to detour to New Dock Street, which we found on Google Maps, which looks much like it does in the movie.
Yep.
The thing that we need to know is that we thought that they take the New Dock Street exit. They don't. That's the detour exit sign. And they go through the construction, the road closed signs. That's when like Letty pulls under the car. She does like the under truck move.
And that's what I was really paying. Like that was my big takeaway here. Is I was sort of watching the ballet of the 3 cars. The one staying in front of the semi to not let the semi pass. The other 2 trying not to get like rocked off the street.
Yes.
And it's like it's already a closed area, and then it closes even more for the construction zone. And obviously we see the car in an iconic fashion driving to the semi, but I was just watching those 3 cars. That's like the real visual thing here. It's the 3 of them trying to A, not die, but B, also keep head in the game, get your head in the game, but also keep the truck in the middle of the road and whatever. Because we know in Too Fast, Too Furious, not all cars can survive semis. Like they get fucked up.
It kind of like just tapers off, and they cut to a shot of LA,
which I liked. Like this is the first of the 3 minutes that ends in a really nice way. Yeah,
I don't think they timed it like that, but the 3rd minute ends in like a La La Land kind of shot of a downtown LA all lit up at night. But that's what happens, and then that's it. Yeah, no dialogue the whole minute.
Well, we will be back in 2 weeks for the 4th minute, but before we get there, we cannot count our chickens before they're hatched. We're going to take a break. We're going to bring in Chris, and we're going to talk about Too Fast, Too Furious, Lap 4.
Welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. Lap 4, Too Fast, Too Furious, the movie. Lots of 2s and 4. This episode is brought to you by Miami 5-Star, the #1 yacht rental service in Miami. Their goal of Miami 5-Star Rentals and yacht charters is to treat you and your valued guests as royalty and to make sure you are treated to an experience only Miami 5-Star Yachts and Charters and luxury boat rentals can provide. If you ever want to rent a yacht in Miami, check out Miami 5-Star Yachts.
Well, Joe, we did our whole intro opening segment, which might have been the longest one we've ever done.
Possibly
it is getting longer and longer each time. With us now to talk about Too Fast, Too Furious on Too Fast, Too Forever is someone who lives in the city where Brian drove from in the first movie, took that turbocharged Prelude all the way across the country from Southern California to Miami, stopping to meet Minka Kelly and race some kids. We have, and I know how to say it now, Chris Mollica. Hello, Chris.
Hey there, everybody. How you guys doing?
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm just a fanboy. That's, what it
Well,
comes down to. I love that Fast and Furious world.
Yeah, we are all fanboys of this world because they are just such good movies that obviously we think of that. What other movies, what other franchise could you really watch forever and not get tired of?
Loop. Yeah.
Harry Potter.
Really?
Oh, good call. I watch a ton of Harry Potter.
We just go through that every 2 years.
I was watching it this weekend.
Oh, this weekend?
I was watching. Yeah, it was on like USA or TNT or I don't know. There was like a Harry Potter weekend going on, and like every time it's on, it just goes on my TV. Sorry.
Well, that's also a franchise that you used to fall asleep to, or no?
Yeah, I do fall asleep to it too. But what's your favorite Harry Potter movie? What's
I
the best
think
one?
it's 7. It's the part 1 of the last one. It's Deathly Hallows Part 1. It's a little dark.
That's
really
a good choice.
fun. Like they go into the dragon goes into the mine and everything. It's good times.
Yeah.
Well, so now, Chris, I have a question for you. We have a bunch of questions for you, but I'm going to start off with one.
A ton of questions.
This is the first one, and I cannot go any further without asking this question. How dare you allow Dolores on Westworld to be treated like that?
You like that?
Oh, yes, I know. I was waiting to see. I was going to bring it up gently later on.
My
but
feeling
Jesus.
now is I created Westworld. The way it is because I rejected her. She goes, kills that guy for the first time. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you.
You are the inciting incident.
I am the inciting incident. I have retconned the whole thing.
He did. I know. I was so ready to break into it early, and Joey just guns a-blazing at the
Went right after me. That's great.
I'm a huge Westworld fan. I am.
So we play a game at the end of every podcast episode, Chris, as you've heard probably, that we find random people on Twitter and we just say, boy, do we have a podcast for you. And so I was sitting in the movie theater about to see some movie, and I saw that you had tweeted, I think it was about, like, who's the most famous Brian, and you said, what about the Brian from Fast and Furious? And I said, boy, we have a podcast for you. And, like, instantly you're like, if you ever need someone to talk about it, I'm here for you. And so I sent your Twitter thing to Joe, and I was like, check this guy out, like, we're going to have him on the show or whatever. And he's like, this dude was in Westworld. And I was like, oh, man. Like, that's
first thing
instantly. He was just like, this dude was in Westworld.
Don't pay too much close attention. They gave me such a small hat. They didn't have any hats that fit me. And so if you watch me in that clip, it's a tiny hat.
You're pulling it off. Like, I didn't even notice that. I was just noticing Dolores.
I didn't notice it, for sure.
I turned her down. I created Westworld. You're welcome.
Man, oh man.
How was it? Can you tell us a little bit about it? Just because, like, now I'm just curious. I'm just fanboying out. So like,
it was awesome. Essentially, we were in the middle of nowhere for like 2 nights.
Where did they
just
shoot it
shooting at
at?
that house? It was up north. It's now several years off. Like, I shot it, and it didn't show for an entire year. But it was up in the desert. This house was in the middle of nowhere. While we were shooting, you could hear coyotes.
Did they build the house, or did the house exist?
No, the house existed. So we met
Okay.
the owner of the house and everything. I'm forgetting the director's name. He also directed The Descent. He was awesome. Neil Marshall, that's it. Just 2 nights in the middle of nowhere, pretending
That's
to be
so
a cowboy. Cool. And the guy who was Trevor in Grand Theft Auto. Me and him hung out for a bunch in the middle of the night.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's so
talked.
Cool.
Yeah, it was great.
I love it.
That's
I love
really
that.
cool. I'm super jealous, man. That's awesome. We play like a similar game for Fast and Furious, and we're like, like what character do you want to be in these? And like we never pick like Brian or Dom, right? Like we always have to like pick like somebody. So like if I had to pick a character to be in Westworld, I would be your character. Like that's a great character to be like, oh yeah, like well I started Westworld,
Yeah.
Like, you're like, fuck.
They don't give me that credit, and everyone's like, "You're gonna come back, right?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm never coming back."
But still, you're like, hey, did you ever see Westworld? Like, remember that dude that like snubs the Norris the first time? Like, that's me.
Remember the guy with the tiny hat? That's his character. I think it's Sketchy Guest. I think that's the name of my character. Sketchy Guest.
I guess we'll refer to you now as Chris Sketchy Guest Mollica. So there we go.
Thank you.
Sinister guest.
Thank you. There you go. That was what it was. Sinister.
Yes, sinister.
That's
guest.
way harsher.
I know. I guess.
Now let us transition. Let's do a hard pivot into these movies. Is there anything that links, aside from you, I guess, is there anything that links Westworld to the Fast and the Furious?
I like being the link between those two. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Yeah, that's the
Is there
perfect
anything
link.
links those two? I'm not sure.
I feel like there has to be some characters that overlap somewhere, right?
Probably.
Like, I think we're gonna get some. I bet like a lot of the characters from Westworld like eventually come into the Fast.
Well, you know what I can see? So like as HBO was trying to preserve its future fortunes by saying, hey, don't cancel now that Game of Thrones is over. We've got other shows. And they did that trailer for Westworld Season 3, and it's just Aaron Paul. I can see Aaron Paul in this world, because Aaron Paul was in the Need for Speed movie. I can see him in this kind of world. So maybe he will be the future link that ties the two together. I don't know.
We've got 2 more movies. We've got time for him.
Oh, we got nothing but time.
Nothing but time.
So now, Chris, I'm assuming the answer is yes, but have you seen all 8 of these movies?
Several times.
Do you remember the first time that you saw this movie in particular, Too Fast, Too Furious?
So I think it was now about, it was around the time that the 7th was coming on like digital or streaming or whatever.
Okay.
And I had never watched a single one of them.
Wow, so this is even more recent
in
than
late.
me. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And I literally was like, I just turned to my wife. She's a completist. She likes watching everything all the way through. And I said, I want to watch all the Fast and Furiouses in a week. And so we just sat down in 1 week and watched all of them, one a night.
I love it. I love it.
Actually, 2 and 3 were in one night. We heard they were the lesser ones. We gave them fair due, but they were grouped together. I guess it's 4 or 5 years ago now.
So you just got like the shot. You were coming off 1, no wait, late to the game, and you just went into 2. How did you feel about it? How do you feel about 2 now? How did you feel about it then?
2 then was a little bit of a letdown. 1 was weird. There's something about 1 that is so strange. Like the soundtrack is happening, the score is happening, and all of a sudden soundtrack comes on top.
Yeah. Yeah.
The movie just is kind of doing its own weird thing. And then the second one came, and it for me, it was a little bit of a letdown.
Okay.
I think it almost lost us.
Wow. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay.
That's how I felt then.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. No
I have
worries.
slightly different feelings after watching the other day.
Had you seen it in between then? So you
Yes.
saw it a couple times, like you've seen it in between then, but you just rewatched it now, and you feel different about
So
it. Okay.
we did a whole rewatch before the 8th in the movies, and then we've
Okay.
also been trying to sell them to people for years. We go
Yeah.
around just like, hey, you should watch this series. Everyone's like, why would I watch that?
We can relate. We can relate. Trust me. If there's any two guys here that can feel your sentiments, it's us.
It's a religion. It's a religion where you're like,
Yeah.
come on, you should just get in, stop worrying about if it's cool or not, just watch these movies.
They're fun, man.
Give me
So-
20 minutes.
Yes.
Give me 6 movies.
Give me 5. Give me 5 movies. Get to the 5th.
You know, we've talked
That's
a
what
lot
that's
about.
what we always say. Yeah.
In recent episodes, we've talked a lot about how, like, you don't need to start with the first one. You could start with the first, or really, you could start with this one. Not that you would want to, but you could start with 1, you could start with 2, or 3, or 4, or I came on with 5. You know, like, there's a
We
lot of
always say start
different
with
entry
5.
points.
I kind of disagree. I feel like you have to go through it.
Really?
Because
Okay.
Otherwise, you don't know the characters. 5 felt so satisfying, and I don't mean to make this about 5. 5 felt so satisfying because all these weird divergent characters all of a sudden came together. You're like, oh, everyone's here?
It's the
Yes.
Justice League of,
Yes!
of the franchise.
Yeah.
It
And
is.
when Han
Or the
comes in,
Avengers,
I was
I
like,
guess.
you're
Yeah.
bringing back Han? I was so psyched, man.
Exactly, because Han's like the best character in 3,
Yeah.
and you're like, holy shit, and then he comes back. My take on it was I just did a re-list of how I would show them to somebody that's like kind of a doubter, right? Like somebody that's like kind of down on it. You give them 5 because that's like just you have everyone. And I know that like, you know, you're missing like you have to get over the like having Han come back and stuff like that. But if you wanted to hook somebody, I think you have to give them 5 first. To just be like, this is everyone, this is the action, this is where we get to. And it doesn't tell them too much about the end, and it doesn't tell them too much about the beginning, and you can kind of jumpstart them there. If they like, I mean, they're going to like 5. If they like 5, then you're like, okay, let's go back to 1.
Could you
like,
bring
let's
them
start at the
back?
beginning.
Because all of a sudden it's a different movie. It's a different game. 1 is so grounded.
I think you can.
I know that's a weird thing
I
to
think
say
you
about
can.
Fast and the Furious. It's the most grounded movie.
It is.
It is.
But it is, though.
But-
it's the smallest and the most grounded and the sort of most, not cohesive, but it's...
Realistic.
Yeah, I
almost,
like
right?
using these words for it.
So before we get too much further, I sort of have a little bit of an inkling here and how this might go, but, you know, no pressure here, but how would you rank these movies from favorite to least favorite? What's your favorite one, 8th, all in between, 1 through 8?
Fast 5, Furious 7, Fast and Furious 6, Fate
Okay.
of the Furious,
Wow, okay.
The Fast and the
High.
Furious, The Fast and
Okay.
Furious Tokyo Drift, Too Fast,
Yep.
Too Furious,
Okay.
and Fast and Furious, number 4, goes last.
Okay.
Yeah, so when we did our pre-rankings, I had a list kind of similar. I had 4 very low, and the more that we've been watching 4, the more it's grown on me.
Really?
Joe was terrified to watch 4 again. He's like, I think I'm going to eat 4. I was like, no, man, like,
Yeah.
4's good. Like, I'm worried to watch 2. And actually, now it's 8. Like, we both like, oh, boy, 8. But, you know, 4 is... I think 4 is... it's a, you know, it's a
solid.
soft reboot of 1, but I think it's a low-key good movie.
Well, it's very depressed, is I guess what my feeling is. Like, Letty
True.
dies pretty early on, and so, like, the mood is kind of somber.
Yeah,
They're getting
it
the
is,
gang
I
back
agree.
together, but they're, like, mellowly.
It's true.
Yeah.
What I like about it, though, is that it just focuses on Dom and Brian and Mia, and that's it. Like,
You're right.
it's, you know, there are other characters in there, of course, and that's where we meet Gal. I mean, how can you hate a movie where we meet Giselle? Like, Giselle is
right.
our everything.
I
But-
liked Wreck-It Ralph, too, because...
Oh, she's great in that.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
She plays
she's great
Fast
in
and
it.
Furious. She plays Giselle.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
plays
she
in
does.
Wreck-It
She
Ralph.
plays Fast and the Furious. She's in the Fast and the Furious scene.
as they're Tokyo drifting around a Japanese restaurant. Like, it's great. It is so good.
So good.
I get where you're coming from. I think it is definitely a somber movie because that's another thing that, you know, we had someone on last episode who had never seen any of these movies, and he's like, I sort of can't wait to see what they do with Letty. We're like, well,
Yeah.
don't get too
Yeah.
excited because she's not
We're
in
in for
2, not in
something.
3, barely in 4, not in 5, not really Letty in 6, and then finally in 7 she's back to herself. But like, it takes a while for her to be Letty again, and now she's back on board with 9 after they hired a female writer. So like, Michelle Rodriguez
That's
is
cool.
taking care of business over there.
That's awesome.
Now, before we talk about the movie, before we talk about the movie, we've got the either or lightning round. So we've got a lot of questions, and since you've
yes.
seen all 8 movies, you can answer all these questions. So get ready for a needless amount of
Off the
questions.
cuff. Off the cuff. Just
All
whatever you're feeling.
To shout out to another show on our network, to shout out Kyle Reinfried's Foodie Films. This is your gut instinct, just whatever feels
Ooh.
right when you hear it first.
I like it. Go ahead.
Are you more of a Brian or a Dom?
I think I'm more of a Dom.
Okay.
Oh.
I know that there's a lot of Brian in me, but there's something very, I think the gravity thing about Dom hits me in the gut. And
everything just gets pulled to you?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think Dom.
You walked right into that. That was beautiful. Thanks.
Are you more of a Mia or a Letty?
And then I'm more of a Mia. I think Letty's a hothead.
Okay, I feel like
She's
Dom
feisty,
Mia
I
is
agree.
an interesting combo. I don't think we've had that.
We don't get a lot of Dom Mias. Yeah, we don't get a lot of Dom Mias.
I'm just the Toretto family, is what I'm saying.
Oh, that's a good call.
You know, I'm running the chop shop, and I'm also running the sandwich shop.
Okay. Yeah, you're the foundation of the family from both sides.
Yep, there you go.
We've only been talking to him for about 20 minutes now before we start recording. I feel like I already know the answer to this question. Are you a Roman or a Tej?
Ooh, I'm a Roman.
Of course you are.
For sure.
I mean that complimentary.
I'm taking Tej as an answer.
But yes, you have to be a Roman. Like you're just too bubbly. You want to I feel like you're like kind of like a puppy. Just like I want to talk to people. Like let's just talk about the Fast and Furious.
I like
that. Is kind of it. Yeah.
Are you more of a Deckard or an Owen?
You know who I want to be. I want to be Shaw, of course. But
which
I'm not
Shaw?
sure.
They're both Shaws.
They're both.
Yeah. Well, I want to be. I want to be the one who team up with Hobbs.
Jason Statham.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to be the titular Shaw. Okay.
Yeah, the titular Shaw. Although he killed my man, Han.
Justice for Han. Justice for Han.
Justice for Han. Hashtag Justice for Han. They're going to retcon that somehow. They have to.
They have to fix it.
I hope so.
Somehow.
I hope that's
They
kind
killed
of
Han.
I don't want that to be a
killed
major
Han.
thing in Hobbs and Shaw, but I kind of want that to be addressed a little bit. Like I know that Hobbs is not necessarily the character he needs to apologize to, but I feel like for us to truly root for Shaw, we kind of
He needs
need
to come back and say like, "This is what happened, really," and something. Yeah, I agree.
and it's not him after all.
Yeah.
I would like that. It's some big person. It's like Charlize or somebody.
Ooh, yeah. Or Keanu Reeves, who might be in the movie. I don't know.
Oh, stop it.
No, he really
That'd
is.
be a dream come true.
Well, there's rumors that he's in it. We're not sure if he's going to be in it or not, but that's the current rumor on the internet. So we're gonna fingers crossed for that.
I love
for
that.
us.
Chris, are you more into American muscle or import cars?
American muscle.
A lot of people are. Yeah.
Oh, come on, they're just beautiful cars.
I
The sound
agree,
of them.
man. Yeah, no, there's no judges. It's just like everybody's always going muscle. I'm trying to get somebody on the imports team with me, but it's okay.
Come on over to the dark side.
Exactly.
Brian.
Supers are cool. Supers are cool.
Are you more into Coronas or Belgian ales?
I am, as a person, more into Belgian ales, but I'm sitting here because we're doing this, drinking a Corona.
Hey, man after our own hearts.
I had to do
Jeez.
it. You guys invited me in, and I was like, well, let me just break out some Coronas.
Part of the family now.
So I will say Belgian ales, but Corona on special occasions. Are you? So this is a little bit more abstract. Are you more of a racer or a designer? Are you the one who's actually out there in the field doing it, or are you the one in the shop putting the car together?
I'm going to go racer.
Okay,
That's a tough one.
that is a tough one.
Yeah.
And they're very distinct. Like you can't. You're not. You're either one or the other. And I feel like a lot of the people on here are designers. I feel like we don't have too many racers, so it's good to know we can send you out there
You're
and
down.
just do that thing.
There you
Yeah,
go.
you're just down.
Chris, if you won $10 million or 11 or won or stole or however you want to phrase this question, $11 million, and you went to Monte Carlo, would you bet it all on black or on red?
Always bet on black.
Always on black. Okay.
Tails never fails. Always bet on black. Would you rather jump a car into a plane, like they do at the end of Fast and Furious 6,
Love it.
or out of a plane, like they do in Furious 7?
Into a plane.
Okay,
Because it's safer.
Yeah, well, and also, like, there's more conclusion.
that's true.
I'm going out of the plane. Where am I going? What's happening next?
Well, you kind of have to assume,
GPS
and this is
parachute.
there's an unwritten part of the question that there is a GPS tracker in your car that you're gonna be guided to where you need to go, but still that's not really conclusive. That's I don't know what I'm doing once I land.
Yeah, you're like driving into the plane's done. Or it kind of also happens in 7 when he drives into that little drone helicopter.
And it also in 8 when Dom drives into the plane that Charlize's that Cypher is flying around. A lot of cars into planes in the latter movies, for sure.
Which all stems from here, from the second one when we drive a car into the boat,
onto a boat.
That is true.
where it all begins.
I think 2 actually establishes a number of things that the series starts to do bigger and better.
Yes, I agree.
Chris, is the word oil one syllable or two?
I think it's 2. I heard this on the last
Love
one,
it.
and my head is perplexed.
Makes me so happy.
Oil.
This is another question that comes from the latter movies. Would you rather die in a fiery explosion or drowning in ice water?
Oh, fiery explosion.
Yeah, it's more badass. I agree.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Plus, I
you're
hate
just
being
kind of
cold.
incinerated. Yeah.
Picture for a second that we are in a tower in Dubai. Joe and I are off trying to steal a car, trying to get it out of there, who knows how. And we say, Chris, I want you to distract this room. You need to go out there, distract them with a song, sing something for them. What song are you singing?
Song?
I think it's Baby Got Back.
Ooh, great choice. Yeah, that's a great choice. I mean, like, everybody knows all the words. Everybody would get hype about it.
Crowd
It's a
favorite.
good choice. Crowd favorite, easy play. Yeah, you get everybody into it. I like it.
Last episode when we had Michael on, he was talking about why he chose the song he chose, and he was saying that, it's one that you want to know the lyrics, but I think even if you forget the lyrics of this, the beat is so kind of funky that if you're
Catchy.
listening to it like a karaoke track, like you can just sort of like freestyle over it or something. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, and the party's going. People are hopping around.
Yeah.
Chris, Revenge of the Nerds or The Dark Knight?
Oh, what a good question. I was raised on the Revenge of the Nerds,
Okay.
Amen.
but I kind of want to pick Dark Knight.
Ooh.
Brooding.
Yeah, I kind of
Okay.
want to stand on top of a building edge and look over the city.
Do it.
And the last question in the series of questions, we're going to have much more later. Do you have a favorite character in these movies?
I think I revealed myself earlier. It's Han. It's
Yeah.
without a doubt Han. Yeah, Hobbs is a pretty close second.
Hobbs is
'cause
awesome.
He's amazing.
Yeah, Hobbs is great.
Veggies first.
You know I let my veggies first. All right. Each lap of the show, every time we go through all 8 movies, we have a different question that sort of kicks off our discussion. In this lap, because we're taking a walk down memory chain and we're tracking the necklace from movie to movie, even though the necklace is not in this movie because Dom's not in this movie. It's
not.
The question that we're kicking things off, though, is, Chris, when you think of Too Fast, Too Furious, what is the first thing you remember? Like, what is your most vivid image, your most lasting memory?
Person, car, place,
Scene,
movie,
whatever.
anything.
About this movie. Like,
Song.
when somebody says Too Fast, Too Furious, what's the first thing you think of?
I honestly think of Roman saying Brian because he says it so particular
Okay.
that it became the place where I just started going, wow, that is a really lame name for the hero of a movie franchise.
But it's because of that name that you're here
Brian.
now, so how long
Exactly.
of a name is it really? So
It worked out that the thing I hated is the thing that brought me there.
I think it's in Fate of the Furious when he's talking to Tej about Ramsey, and he's like, yo, Barstow is exotic to her. Like, his accent, the way he says Brian, it's exotic.
It is exotic. I agree.
I'll have to get back up to that again.
Oh, maybe if Brian was still around, if Paul hadn't passed and they hadn't written Brian off, maybe if Ramsey had heard him say Brian's name, or maybe Joe, Chris, Fast and Furious 9, whatever it's going to be called, Fast 9 your seatbelts.
Fast 9 your seatbelts, yeah.
When he's talking to the baby Brian, if he says
Yeah.
Brian that way, maybe that's when Ramsey's like, ooh, exotic accent, I'm in. Maybe that's what we
Baby
need.
Brian.
Baby Brian.
Brian.
Joe, what about
Maybe
you? What's the first thing that you think of?
We ain't hungry no more, cuz. That's it, every time.
Awesome.
Pockets ain't
Yeah,
empty
we
either.
ain't hungry no more, cuz. Yeah, that's it. I think of that. I think of West Coast Chopper T-shirts,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a close set. Like, if you like, we ain't hungry. Like, that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
It's one of two things for me, and I think they're the two. One's a very big moment we talked about already, which is the boat scene. But I think like jumping the car into the boat.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
I wish it was the stare and drive. It's not burned in my brain.
It's not top. No.
I think the first thing
agree.
I think of is the rat on the chest.
Oh, that's a pretty jarring moment.
Heating
I
up
agree.
the bucket and just,
Yeah.
don't worry when you can hear him. It's when he stops making noise, that's when you have to worry.
Yeah.
I don't love that scene like I've talked about in past episodes. I think that like things slow down a bit too much there, but still, that is like a crazy thing that happens in this movie that is burned in my brain.
It's also the introduction of that character
Yeah.
that the entire movie is based off, like, hinges on his morality. He
True.
deciding when to call the cops in. He talks in the rat scene about his family. And then later on, you see him look at a picture of, I guess, his family, decide whether or not to call the cops in. If he had decided to be a better cop, Brian
worse
and
cop.
Roman. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Would have changed that guy is the hinge of this movie.
He is the you of
That's
the
crazy
Westworld
to think
universe.
about.
Yes, he's the me.
Chris is to Westworld as Rat Chest Detective is to the Fast and Furious.
The guy he's from Sons of Anarchy. Don't forget.
And also, he's in the Batman series as well. He's in
Oh,
Dark
yeah.
Knight and stuff.
Oh, that's
I
right.
think
Yeah.
he's a crooked cop in there, isn't he?
Yep, and he's also the guy in, I don't know if you guys know Seinfeld, the guy who's like, his mother was a mother. His father was a
Wait,
mother.
what?
Yeah, he's in that scene.
No way.
Yup.
Oh my god. See, we have this long going thing where Joey's never seen Seinfeld, and I'm a huge Seinfeld fan. So I'm always like, oh, this person was in Seinfeld. He's like, I don't know, because I've never seen it. I'm like, how the fuck have you not seen Seinfeld? But
I'm failing
it's
you.
a recurring theme that we have
Yeah.
here. But no, I can't believe he was in Seinfeld too. Holy
Yep.
fuck.
So now this is pretty low on your list. It's, I think you said 7th of 8. But I mean, is this a movie, like, do you like watching this movie? Is this a movie that you like? Because I feel like what we say all the time, like time and time again, is that even a bad Fast and Furious movie is a good movie, right? So, like, is this a movie that you enjoy watching, or is it sort of a chore to get through one of your less favorite Fast and Furious movies?
When I watched it the other day, I actually really enjoyed watching it. I think the problem for me, and I don't know if this is a place to talk about it yet, was that what's great about the Fast and Furious series is generally you have no idea what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like, they're going to take down a submarine by having a heat-seeking missile follow a car. Sure. Okay.
Yep.
Didn't know that was going to happen, but it happened.
Sure.
This one, I knew everything that was going to happen. There was never any tension.
No twist for you.
Nothing's a surprise.
It's pretty direct. Yeah, now that you say that, it's a pretty linear Fast and the Furious. Like, you kind of see where everything's, besides them bringing in Roman, right? Like, which they even like hinted that they are gonna do. There's no real surprises in this movie. Like, they're laying everything out for you. I can agree with that.
Even the ejector seats, they're like, the ejector seats.
Yep.
We're going to put ejector seats in. And you're like, okay.
And Brian like taps on the side of the car. He's like, for these, the ejector seats.
Yeah.
And you're like,
we're going to use these later.
And even when right before they're about to use them, Brian says to Roman, "So Roman, we only got one more trick, huh?" And Roman's like, "Yep, you know what's coming." Yeah. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Weird thing about Brian's is Brian's doesn't work in the end. If he had tried to use it earlier, it wouldn't have worked.
Jimmy is a 2-bit mechanic. He says it when he raps and plays playing cards. He says that he's an underpaid 2-bit mechanic. So
I kind of felt bad. Like, this time around, I thought that Brian and his, one of Carter Verone's right-hand man, the guy who was in the car with him, I felt like they had a bond.
They
And
did. They had a little
do.
relationship. It was very nice.
And I felt bad that he had to, like, get fucked over.
kill him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, he doesn't kill him. He survives, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he survives. We
gets
see him
arrested.
after they beat the crap out of him, and they kick him one too many times for my personal taste, they actually leave him on the car. The last shot of him is they took him off the ground and they put him on the car.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, we always, like, I lose track of whether people live or die in these movies sometimes, especially like lower characters that are only in like one movie. I'm like, did he live or die? But yeah, he's alive. He gets arrested at the end.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they were friends. It was very nice. He actually compliments his driving.
Earlier, like a couple scenes earlier, he's like, "I can't take the wheel. I don't know how to drive." And I was like, how do you not know how to drive?
Yes.
And be like this guy's like lieutenant in his, drug empire or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
And Miami's not like a walking city,
No,
right?
it's
Like,
not.
so like, how did you not learn how to drive? Like, were you just like very good at following some parts of the law, and you're like, some kind of like immigrant that could never get a license? Like, I don't understand what's going on here. It's very strange. I agree. How did you not learn how to drive in Miami? Like, you have to drive in Florida.
weird. It's weird. You know what I think is the most unbelievable part of this movie? And I think we might have talked about it a little bit in past laps.
What?
The fact that Brian can be in a towel and get to the race in 4 minutes. Like, he has to get dressed,
They
get
keep
to wherever
saying
that car
4
is.
minutes. They keep saying it too.
Specifically 4 minutes, not 5 minutes, because five minutes means 10 minutes, 20 minutes, right? So like, but they say
4
4
minutes
minutes.
means 4 minutes.
He says it to Brian,
Exactly.
and then he goes to everyone else. He's like, "Race starts in 4 minutes," and then a whole bunch
Yep.
of shit happens.
But, like, he's got to drive a ways. And figure, even if he's, like, a mile away, he's got to get dressed, which takes, to put on, like, socks and shoes and pants and
30
a shirt.
seconds. 30 seconds max, right?
Max
Well-
30? I would say, no, I think to put on shoes tight enough to drive, I feel, say 45 to a minute.
No, I'm saying like maximum you could get it done in is 30 seconds.
Oh, fastest you
Like,
can get it done.
That's if you had them on like a wire and you jumped into them.
Exactly, yes. If you were like doing a costume change, like Lady Gaga
Yeah.
costume change style, like at that point maybe 30 seconds.
So then he's got to go to get his car, which we don't know where it is because it's like all these quick cuts. But you can see that the ground,
possibly out front.
because the ground is like he's on like white linoleum. I don't know if
The
it's
garage,
in
maybe?
a garage,
Yeah.
but like it's not just like out front. Like if we saw, last episode, Joe, we talked about the turbocharged prelude. We saw that little house. Like if he just jumps out to the street, like that is believable. But if he's got to like open a garage door,
No
get in the
garage door
car-
takes less than 15 seconds to open,
Isn't he
right?
staying on that boat?
I don't think so.
I've got
I don't
lots
think
of
he's in
questions.
Tedge's boat.
I've got lots of questions about living.
He seems like he's in a
situations
house.
In this movie.
He seems like he's in a house in the first one. I don't think he's in Tej's boat yet.
Is he staying
that,
in
like-
Tej's garage?
Possibly.
So wait,
maybe it's
that's
that.
Tej's.
I think he's in Tej's
boat
garage.
they come to later.
Yes. Brian asks Tej if Roman can have his cot, and he says, "Yeah, show him around."
And Brian's sleeping in Tej's bed? Because Eva Mendes appears later at Tej's bed? I thought Brian also had a houseboat. I thought they all lived in a houseboat community. I thought it was kind of cute.
No, Brian definitely does not have money for a houseboat unless he's renting from Miami 5-Star.
Shout out Miami 5-Star.
I don't know, but anyway, so then he's got to get in the car, wherever it is, drive. He's got to get onto the freeway, drive a ways, and then still show up and still be fine. Like, and if you figure, and I think you might even see it in this movie, like he's got to sort of navigate through like a horde of crowd of people, right? Like he can't just like.
That's what I'm
pull up to
saying.
the
Like
stop
it would take
line.
him 4 minutes to get from the back of that crowd to
Yeah,
the
slowly
starting
honking,
line.
driving slowly.
Like even if they knew it was him and they clear out when they see him, it's still going to take him like a minute and a half to get through there.
Wow.
4 minutes, man.
But he does it.
He does it because he's Brian.
On a similar note to the housing situation, I have another question about this. When we meet Roman, he's at the Derby, right? And he's in his car and he's, wrecking shit.
Number 68, by the way.
Shout out Fast and Furious Minute. And
Yeah,
he's
car number
he's
68.
under house arrest. And then
Yes.
and Bilkin says to him, I didn't think you could stray this far from your house. He's like, why do you think I park at the Derby? So 2 questions for you. If you're in an RV, is house arrest, does that matter? Because you could just bring that anywhere.
From what I know about house arrest and how it works,
Yeah.
from close proximity, is that it's very, very aggressive, and that you could never use an RV as your domicile if it could move.
So, okay, so that's the because he says it in a way like, well, why do you think my RV is
parked so
here? Because
close.
I need to be
Exactly.
here. So, okay, so
Do you know how it actually works? Like,
it's
like
GPS
there's, like,
coordinates, I would imagine, right?
probably now, but like back in the day, like when this movie was shot, there's like a receiver that would plug into your phone, and if you got further than 100 yards away from the receiver, then it would auto dial your parole officer saying that you've left.
Okay.
And it would let them know that you've broken house arrest. That's how it used to work.
Okay, so say that he's allowed to live in an RV, but the RV can't move. Are we to believe that the most important thing in his life is the Derby, and that's why he parked in the middle of what
He
seems
lives
like
there.
the desert?
Yeah, he would have to live in the Derby parking lot.
Yeah, that's his home.
Yeah, like he couldn't.
That's where he's getting his money from.
Yeah, that's true.
But like you could just go somewhere else and get a different job. I understand. Like
Also, the part of the house arrest that counts is like if you have a job, they can check into your job and you tell them like, hey, I leave from 9 to midnight. You're not on house arrest while you're at your job. Like that's part of house arrest. Like they can't not let you go to a job, right? Like it's part of like
Right.
rehabilitation.
Yeah.
So like if he was a demolition derby driver, he could just drive to the demolition derby and be like, I'm at the demolition derby, and as soon as it's over, he comes back home.
Although I don't know if your job is demolition derby driver, if you would be able to get the clearance to go for that. You know what I mean? Maybe, but maybe not. I don't know.
But he could drive his fucking house around, so what the fuck's the difference?
Guess. Whew.
I think the rule later on is you don't let people like that behind the wheel of a car. Isn't that what Hobbs says? Here they are, this guy's under house arrest, and yet they let his job be being behind the wheel of a car? That seems wrong.
I mean, Brian.
that's, like,
Brian does really have to
legality
sell
things.
everyone on Roman, though, right? Like
He does.
because he said.
Everybody else is skeptical.
He says-
rightfully so.
It's a line that I've heard before. It was the first time I wrote it down. He's saying to Bilkins while they're watching him, he says, he's got some skills, but he's crazy as hell, I'm telling you. Like, joking around, like, you're going to love this guy. He's crazy. And then Bilkins just looks at him like, what are you getting me into? And then Brian quickly's like, but in a good way, though. Like, he's the man for the
Yeah.
job. And he just has to
Exactly.
keep selling everyone. Like, he has to sell people on why the guy drinking the Gallo soda is not the right guy. And then why Roman is the only guy who can do this job. Like, this is all because of Brian.
He's Brian's Vince, is what Roman is.
Ah, that's right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. He is his Vince. He's like the kid that he knew forever, and like he's like the only one that he trusts with this.
I do
Yeah.
wonder if Hobbs was in Miami, I don't think Brian could sweet talk Hobbs into letting Roman be a part of the crew.
He sweet talks Hobbs into some bullshit later. That's
true.
So,
So Chris, what are your favorite parts of this movie? Han's not in this movie, so your favorite character. Do you have a favorite character in this movie?
I think it's Roman.
Okay.
It's Roman.
yeah, it's an easy choice. I think for me too.
He's just so much more. Yeah, he's enjoyable. The hungry thing and everything.
Yeah.
Brian's most interesting characteristic in this movie is that he's a nickname that we never hear again.
Yeah.
Bullet.
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 Yeah.
Hey, Bullet.
They tried to do it. We're like we wonder if when they changed directors that like this was lost, or if they like tried to plant this and maybe the crowd didn't perceive it the same way. Like we always try to do that because you're changing directors and writers and stuff in these movies. So like, is it something that just flubbed or somebody forgot?
I feel like it was his, as he was undercover going across the country in that like short film, that he was
Yeah.
going by the name Bullet. Like Bullet's coming to race.
Ooh.
Here comes Bullet.
Okay, because you're right. He's running from the cops. Like he can't be found. That's a good nickname to have. Yeah.
Now, what do you think of? Because this is a sort of a point of contention a little bit between me and Joe. But Chris, what do you think of the way that Roman's character evolves as the series goes on. I mean, you like Fate of the Furious more than both of us, but do you like where Roman goes from being sort of like this grounded, kind of goofy, like sort of animated but realistic character to suddenly being like every line has to be a joke? Like, do you see that as a natural evolution? Like, do you like sort of new Roman, or what are your thoughts on how Roman changes through these 8 movies?
Well, isn't it the nature of the Fast and Furious series to like be pushing people to like, because there's so many people in the cast, everyone has to play their one note perfectly?
Yeah, they have to be caricatures of themselves. Like, they all have to become the most extreme versions of what they are.
He's just the thing where he makes jokes. He's just the thing where he's fast talking. I think 5 is the one that redefines so many of the characters. He's the guy who talks fast.
Yeah.
So now he is now a guy who talks fast.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it does switch at 5.
Especially when you have to, like you were saying earlier, like you have to bring in 8 or 9 people for this job. You're sort of the collection of everything, right? Like everybody has to be very clearly like who they are.
You've seen all of them. You know how this kind of works. Who do they have to kill off in 9?
Who do they have to kill off? I think it has to be like someone like Roman or something. Like it has to be someone who has been around for a while.
I think it got to be like Roman or Tej. Yeah, I think. But then we're like, you can't kill off Roman or Tej. We already killed Letty once. Dom's not going anywhere. Brian's gone. But like, I think we've hit a point where like they have so many characters that they can't sustain this many characters in the movies anymore.
Well, I think that's
we're
why
gonna have to kill someone.
that's why they sort of broke Hobbs and Shaw off, because they're so popular and they're such fun characters, and 2 really big stars from just movies outside of this franchise, that by removing them from the core movies, you're able to give more time to the actual, the core family members in the movie. So I think, as much of a bummer as it is that Hobbs is probably not going to be in 9,
I think they'll definitely be back for the 10th one. I think they can't go further than 10, can they?
Space. We always say we want space. That's the final frontier.
Dude, it'll happen. In 10, some car is going into space. You know it is.
They keep saying that they're not going to, but that's all that I pray for every time I watch these movies. Like, I just need a space race. Like, I just need 2 rockets racing each other in space, and that needs to be like the final scene of the movie.
Do you think any of the cars will ever transform into a giant robot?
Just go full Transformer? As long as Shia... If Shia joins, then yes.
if Shia's in? As long as he's big beard Shia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. As long as we get Shia in one of these movies, and I think the cars have a possibility of becoming a Transformer.
There's so many more people. Are they going to bring back Suki?
We want Suki back so bad.
We want Suki back really, really bad. We've been craving that. Twinkie from Tokyo Drift. We want Twinkie back.
Oh, yeah, Twinkie.
Complete the rapper trio.
Who was the other guy in the first Fast and Furious? The last guy in their gang who's never come back.
Lance?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lance was like... He doesn't die, though, right?
Nope.
Like, Lance isn't dead. He just, like, disappears.
He drove Letty to the hospital, and then he never came back.
Yeah, we just don't see Lance anymore. I think he was kind of, like, low-tier family, though. He seemed like he, like, added on at the end or something. They didn't really care about Lance too much.
The early movies are, in a way, like 5, in that there's just a whole bunch of characters around, but instead of having backstories for all of them, they're just like there's that one conversation that Brian and Mia have at dinner, and it's just like, so he's just basically like, so who are all these people? And she's like, well, he grew up down the street, and she was down the street, and he was down the street.
I don't even think she describes Lance in that story.
No, she doesn't. Lance is not mentioned.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying, that he was always low-tier family. Like, he was, like, bottom of the barrel.
I don't know, man.
And we get Hector back, right? We get Hector to come back
Hector's,
in 7,
basically in charge of race wars. We get Vince back for a minute before he gets killed.
Yes, in 5 or 6.
That's a good redemption for him. I like that.
I agree. I have a question for you guys about this movie. I mean, like, I'm sure it's obvious and I just missed it, but I've seen this a million times now. Why is Carter Verone getting tracked by customs and not, like, the DEA?
Because I guess maybe he's not just importing drugs, maybe he's importing other stuff from Cuba.
But I think, like, the DEA kind of, like, supersedes all of this, right? Like, if it's drugs, it's always drugs first, and then, like, whatever else you find. Like, is he just, like, smuggling in, like, car parts or something weird?
He might just he might be in the imports-exports business. Like, I don't know.
It felt weird that they were dealing with customs. Like, they definitely went up one, right? Because, like, in the first one we deal with, like, cops and FBI. So then they go to, like, customs, though. It's like, it feels like Carter Verone would be dealing with drugs, because he's in Miami. He's, like, doing shady shit across the border.
I kind of, in a weird way, appreciate that. Like, I feel the easy, obvious sort of cliche thing is for him to just be dealing drugs, but the fact that it's customs,
they never mention it, like, what he's doing, right?
And this is why this movie is like the lesser movie, because it's just like, he's a bad guy.
Yeah, and he's doing something shady, and he's making a lot of money from it, but we don't know what he's actually doing.
He smokes cigars. He's got to be bad.
He smokes cigars. Yeah, he wears big goofy suits.
Well, he owns
Definitely
the
bad
marina,
guy
right?
sign.
Or whatever he says, like wherever the car is being held, he owns that, right? So
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and the nightclub, I think, right?
Club Daisy.
probably. I think he's just got his. I think he's got his fingers in a lot of pies. You know what I mean? Like I think he's just involved in a lot of things, and maybe the DEA is after him, but maybe it's also customs. Maybe just customs is who Brian linked up with, and that's why we're seeing from that angle. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Here's a weird thing about the bad guy, too. He's one of the friends from Good Will Hunting.
Oh,
Okay.
So what's even weirder about that is twice in the movie, Brian says, "How do you like them apples?"
He does, doesn't
Twice.
Fuck, I never caught that. Yeah, that's so strange.
he? I caught the line, but I never knew that like the backstory to that. That's weird.
So I'm wondering if someone said to Brian, "Hey, that guy's in like Good Will Hunting," and he's like, "How do you like them apples?" And then just kept dropping it during the movie, and they're like, "We can't edit this shit out." He said it too many times.
I catch this one, and I caught it again this time, that Suki is, like, driving on the first thing, and she says, "Move, bitch," like, in the same tone as Ludacris's
Yep.
song, "Move,
Oh, nice.
bitch." And I'm like, oh, we just saw Ludacris, she says, "Move, bitch," then you got "How About Them Apples" twice. Like, this is just, this is comical at this point.
like it's not as overt as over the top like references will be later. I don't think it's just kind of like here's just things
Yeah.
that because I feel like a lot of the things they're being said not flatly, but they're not really hammering them home. It's just like things that you could miss in theory, or you could just think that it's just a
Yes.
saying or whatever. You know what I mean? But
Brian does a lot of bad acting, and then he does a lot of face acting at some point.
I hate when he gets mad at someone.
Like when he's on the boat, he does like very aggressive face acting, and his yelling acting is really
Yep.
bad too. So I'm like, oh man, it gets rough to watch at some parts.
Him getting in Roman's face when he's like in Roman's face, and he just keeps on getting on his tippy toes. And I don't know if anyone told him that like that's not threatening.
And they ADR a bunch of that over too, so it's like you see that he's not saying like what he's saying, and you're just like, oh man, this whole thing is so weird. Yeah, they definitely mailed in a bunch of this movie, is what we always came to the conclusion of. That like this one was just like, I think Paul Walker wasn't really feeling it. Oh, and we know that him and Tyrese were like partying the whole time they were shooting this movie.
well, remember like
because they were like buds.
the other thing that we learned was that they wrote 2 scripts because they didn't know if Vin Diesel was going to
Yes.
be back or not. And I feel like the movie that they might have wanted to make was the one with Dom. And then when that didn't happen, they're like, well, we want to make this movie because the first one was so successful. It's not really the story that we... Like, the story that we can tell is not the one that we want to tell. So how can we tell a story that we don't hate or whatever? You know what I mean?
Well, apparently, like his idea, Vin Diesel's idea, was that he hated that they came back with a story that was completely separate from the first story. He wanted continuation, so he likes the idea of the serialization.
He wanted like a sequel. Okay.
and they were
That
like,
makes more
"Here's
sense.
this other story with these characters again," and he's like, "No."
So I have a question about the heist, like the central heist. Not the I guess there's kind of 2 heists in this. No, I guess there's only the one. It's the one where they go to the impound lot and
The
get
money.
the cigar, right?
Oh no, you're not counting like when they go pick up the money.
I feel like that's not a
like
heist because it's his money, right? They're
It's
just
not.
getting his money.
Yeah.
But I guess the other one's not really a heist anyway. Anyway, I'm talking about where they go pick up the cigar from the car in the impound lot. Brian and Roman get there first, and then the character they call Fonzie shows up next, and then he takes out a gun and only stops when the cops show up. Like, if the cops hadn't shown up, was he gonna shoot and kill? I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
He wants this job. He wants this job, man.
Well, they killed that one guy on the race there. There's the guy in the red car who gets run over by that truck.
Yeah, and then the trucks don't
Yes,
even stop. The trucks don't even stop.
No,
No, they don't care.
they murder that guy.
That's what we love tracking that too, and I think we'll eventually do that on a lab. How gratuitous the murderings get and how little people care. Because like in the first movie, like nobody really like dies in a car. Like car accidents are like kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
As soon as we get here and you're like driving out of the thing and the red car just gets demolished, everybody's like, cool, he's dead. Like out of the race. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. I guess we just established that like dying is cool now. Like that's fine.
He does kill the guy in the rival gang in the first movie.
Johnny
Vince,
Tran.
Yeah, Johnny Tran gets killed by Vince.
And it's serious though.
Yeah, he's a murderer.
Yeah, like it's still like, but there's like some gravity to it. Like in this one, you just see people dying. You're just like, oh, okay. And then by the time we get to like 5 and 6, there's just like people just dead everywhere.
Oh, well,
And
because
everybody's
everyone's
like,
really
"Oh,
good
that's
with guns by then.
fine." Exactly.
Why?
Exactly.
Why they're suddenly good with guns?
Because they have to be, because it makes sense for the story.
I totally agree with you.
What was Wes's theory that like as they go,
Oh, the
they just like
automancers. Just they...
Yeah, they're
the
automancers.
fact that they're near cars means that they're powering up in like a Dungeons and Dragons style way, where they're just becoming better at everything around them just through the power
so like
of the
as
cars
they pick
drive.
up guns, they just naturally get better at having guns, like
I
over
love
and
that.
over again. Yeah, that's Wes's theory on like how these characters get this way.
There's a bit of banter in this movie that I think if it came in 5, it wouldn't come in 5 because Mia's around and it's important that she's not here for this. But there's the banter between Brian and Roman where
At the
Roman's it's in the middle of the movie. I think it's right after they get the cigar and he goes back to the house and Brian's checking out Eva Mendes because Joe, keep it in your pants. And
I know. I'm sorry.
Roman's like, why were you checking her out? And he's like, I wasn't. And then this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And he says, I saw you checking her out, or I seen you checking it out. And he says, okay, I was, shut up. And then Roman says, no, you shut up. It's a funny back and forth, but I feel like neither is really selling the line. And I feel like it's the kind of thing that, like, if it came in 5 or 6, it would be great. It can't come in 5 or 6 because Brian's with Mia by that point, but like I feel like there's just the chemistry between the characters or the actors or something, like it's not there or they're just not feeling it. And I feel like it's kind of the same type of thing, Joe, that Wells has written in about, where it's just there's this can't be the take that you want to use. Like they're just saying lines, like the writing is fun. Like it should be these two guys, old friends, you know, busting each other's balls about like why you checking her out. Like I'm not checking her out, whatever. But it's just so flat.
I think that this whole movie is just like the worst Brian acting we get in this series.
I'd agree with that.
I think 1 is much more solid. Just 2, it doesn't seem like he wanted to do this movie. Like the more I watch it, the more I feel like he just cashed in on this one. Like he just was like, fuck it, like I'll just do it. Like he doesn't seem enthused a lot of the movie. There's parts where he seems like he and Tyrese were like actually having a good time, and that shines through like near the end. Like they seem like they're like actually buddies, and they were like dicking around on set, and like they're just like coming off of like they had a good night or something, and so they're having fun. But there's definitely parts where he's just like, I don't want to do this today, and like I don't give a fuck how it comes out, and that's what we're gonna do.
And it's a bummer. It's a bummer to watch.
It is.
The movie in general is flat. And they used camera angles. What's with this above camera angle constantly looking down at everybody?
So I was watching this today, and I hope nobody from work's listening, but I was watching it at work, and one of my friends came by, and he's like watching it like over my shoulder, and he watched like the first like 5 or 10 minutes of it, and he said, holy shit, like watching it with no audio, because I have my headphones on, he's like, watching it with no audio, like it is so shot like a soap opera, like it's just like above, and it like there's like a lot of face zooming, right, like to get like reaction shots of like face expressions and stuff like that. And I have to agree, yeah,
there's a lot of
really
eyes
weird.
Shot, like there's a lot
So
of
much
close-up of
eyes.
eyes, and like
much
the
eyes.
eyes are telling us nothing. They mostly
No.
look back and forth.
Yeah, they're all just dead. They're all dead eyes, and then they just like are panning. They're just like, yeah, it's nothing like. There's no emotion in them. There's just shots of eyes.
So I have a quick aside here. As we've been recording, friend of the show, Melissa Lynham, who has been listening and binging and catching up, sent a story that Tammy and the T-Rex, which is Paul Walker's first movie, where
Yes.
he drives in the first time in the movie because this is his first movie, they are recutting it because they found this footage or something. And there's a story in Entertainment Weekly that in the new version, Paul Walker becomes a dinosaur.
I'll watch this movie.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
So it was covered by both Real Bad and also High School Slumber Party on our podcast network. I feel like if it gives more Paul Walker and we eventually do get to pit stops, like Joe, we got to cover Tammy and the T-Rex. Like this is like breaking
We gotta do
news.
both versions. We gotta do both versions too.
Ooh, yeah.
We could do side by sides to figure out like how effective is it that he does become.
Yeah,
a
is
dinosaur?
it the perfect narrative ending?
I can't imagine why it wouldn't be.
What if he? Okay, let's hear. Hold on. Based on what Chris said earlier,
Yeah.
and what we just learned now. What if Paul Walker comes back as a Transformer and he's like Kit from like Knight Rider?
Yeah.
Oh, just all voice.
Yeah, he's just all voice,
Oh,
but he is the
nervous.
car.
Well-
like Dom is driving Brian.
He's like a Kit.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah,
Ooh.
totally.
That's a way to do it. So we bring him back, and he's just like, yeah, like guys, I'm just with you in the car now, and like he just is the car.
Because Mia's coming back.
That'd be pretty-
How are they going to explain that with Mia coming back, and they've named this baby after this guy who's not dead?
Maybe like they get sponsored by OnStar, and he just becomes OnStar.
He's like, turn left.
Yeah, Mia,
Thanks, Brian.
Mia, you're driving like an asshole again. Like I see you all the time.
Mia, I loved you from the first sandwich.
Yeah.
No one likes the tuna, asshole. I feel like they have to come up with some kind of thing like other than like, oh, he's just watching the kids. Like I don't know. it's going to be hard to bring back Mia. I also do want to say, and I think it's very clear for two people who have a podcast about the Fast and Furious, there are certain things that we want and certain things that we are not going to be crazy about, but we're on board with wherever they go. As long as the movie is committed and good, we're on board.
Robot cars.
Yeah.
Exactly. Transformers, space, Brian becoming on-star, I'm down for it all.
I like all of these. Han can come back.
So our ultimate dream, and this is something that this wasn't our idea, I think we saw this on Twitter. Someone said, it's about time that we got the trilogy of movies between 5 and 6, where it's just a Han and Giselle spin-off. It's just 3 movies about them.
Yes.
And
I love their story.
that's all I want.
Same. I think Gal's a little bit too big for it now with being Wonder Woman, but God, I'd go see all 3 of those.
But also, this is the biggest, aside from the MCU, this is the biggest franchise in the world. Like, she's big, but she's not, is she too big to be the female lead of a trilogy about her character that's a spin-off of, like, one of the most successful franchises of all time? Like, I don't think so.
I don't think, maybe you're right.
I love their sign-off in 5. She said, don't you want to go to Tokyo? And he goes, not yet. And it's just kind of this wink at the camera like,
we'll get there.
Yeah, that's it. We'll get there.
Dude, that scene, I've never wanted to be Han so bad in my life.
As
He's
she's
like
sitting on
driving
his
on
lap.
the Autobahn.
Oh, dude. It's like that
She's
movie
sitting on his lap.
with Charlie Sheen, where he's just driving in a car the whole time. And he has sex while he's driving a car.
God, it's incredible.
What is that movie?
Like, I don't even want to have sex with Gal in the car. I just want her just to be sitting on my lap while I'm driving.
But also,
She's
you
like,
wouldn't... Yeah.
You wouldn't
I wouldn't
stop
mind.
that. Yeah.
Exactly. Hopefully Rachel's not listening. I already got yelled at about
Shut
you
out,
guys
Rachel.
today.
At one point in this movie, Roman wears a sweatband on his wrist that says the answer, and is that
Yes,
is he
I
like
saw
an
that.
Allen Iverson fan? Like, what's going on with that?
Probably. This is probably Iverson time.
Rachel just texted, "I can hear you, LOL." So
I think this is Allen Iverson time. This has to be around.
because this is right after the Sixers had made the finals a couple years earlier and got swept, I think, right? Like, this is peak Iverson is everyone's favorite player time. So yeah,
this just goes to show they didn't really care about this movie. They were just letting anyone go on set and do whatever they wanted. Brian could not really care. The script wasn't really working, so they shot it at weird angles. There's no tension, so they just keep punch in. There's also this weird motif where they keep flipping the shot, and they do it twice with the camera, where the camera starts upside down and then the thing flips. And then Suki does it with her picture that she draws of a car. She holds it upside down and then flips it. So I'm wondering, was there more to this script? Was there some sort of flip that happened at some point that we were alluding to?
I think they flipped the jump on the bridge too.
they do flip
Now
when
that
they
I'm
land,
remembering
right?
it.
Yeah, they land upside down. They flip it inverted. They right side up.
And they flip
Yeah.
towards the end as well, and she flips the picture of the car.
Huh.
Was there more here, or was that just they were like, yeah, and then we'll flip it?
I think this is like Kanye doing 808s and Heartbreaks. That they discovered something like auto-tune, and they were just like, fuck it, let's keep using it. You know that's what I feel like a lot of this movie's like, oh, that was pretty cool. They're like, let's flip the next one. Like, that's fucking cool.
I feel like when you have something like that, you can have as a visual motif throughout your movie, but I feel like it should have some kind of
Reason, yeah,
meaning.
of course.
Yeah, and there's no reversal here. The big flip is that Eva Mendes is actually a cop, but we already know that from the beginning, right? It's not
yeah, we know it from the very beginning.
if Roman was bad, that was a reversal. That would have been and that that's when you flip the camera. You're the whole world is literally upside down now. But the fact that nothing of really significance, like Chris has been saying, we've been saying, that the movie's kind of flat, that everything is sort of not bad, but it's what you expect to happen. The fact that there's no kind of big reveal makes that whole idea of this through line of flipping the status quo
Nothing.
have no real payoff.
Fun thing that my wife brought up was when all the cars come out of the garage, right before they all came out, she goes, do they pay all of them? I had forgot that all these cars drive out of these garages. And the truth is, do they pay all these people?
Characters in the movie or the extras on set?
I mean the people in the movie. I mean the movie world. All these people that have all their cars that might get arrested for helping out
I feel
Brian
like it's
and Roman.
just racer culture. It's just
yeah,
we're
it's
helping our
you're
own.
broing
Let's all
down.
do this.
Yeah. I don't think that they're not. I don't think they're actually. Yeah. It to me, it's. I think I'm with Joey here that they were just yo, it's one of our own type things. You know what I mean? We got to go save one of our boys, and we would do this for anyone type thing. But it's also Brian who's king shit. So
Because I feel like we've also talked about in the past what are Suki and Tej actually getting booked for? Like, maybe just speeding and, like, evading the police? Like, they don't really break laws.
They're also in, like, private property. They're coming out of, like, a garage. So,
Right,
like
they're just in the
speeding
cars
in a
that they're
parking
looking
lot?
for. Yeah, I don't know.
They're not, like, on the highway yet. So it's, like, very strange. Yeah.
Brian really owes them, though.
He does. Us. You owe us.
Yeah.
Chris, do you have anything else to say about this movie? We've got a couple games to play. We've got one that I cannot wait to figure out what the answer is. But anything else in your notes? Anything else that you want to make sure you talk about this movie, or maybe even just like the franchise as a whole?
I'll say as a franchise, like, I think it's worth investing in. It's joyous, and if you just commit and just go, entertain me. There's few movies that do it better than just pure adrenaline entertainment.
That's why I say, and like even about this movie, like we're criticizing this movie from like the Fast and Furious standpoint, but if you watch this movie, it's fucking entertaining.
Yeah.
Like a car jumps onto a boat. Like Tyrese is funny. Like I know, like we nitpick some of the acting and some of the camera choice and stuff like that, but like this movie is still a lot of fun for me. Like it's not like it's bad, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll still rewatch it and not be sad that
And I
watched
think
it,
that's
so.
the important thing that people listening to this podcast need to sort of keep in mind. The more we watch these movies, the more we're going to kind of nitpick things. We also
Get
have to keep in
critical.
mind that
We're gonna get critical.
keep
Yeah.
willingly watching these movies, like by choice. Like we want to. We're enjoying these.
I still watch them when they're on TV and it's not like for
Yeah.
recordings. Like I still watch it. Like there was a fucking marathon on when I was in Dallas, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm watching Fast and the Furious now for the next 6 hours because like they're still fun to watch. So.
But Chris, anything else about the movie or anything else, or you sort of want to figure out play some games with us?
I say let's head some games.
So the first game we're going to play, a long time ago, we had found online a quiz on Zimbio.com, which was which Fast and the Furious character are you? And there were 6 or 8 answers, and the quiz was fun, but we're like, we can do this better. So as you might have heard on recent episodes, we have our own quiz that we're now going to quiz you, and we're going to find out which Fast and Furious character.
Which we actually worked out some kinks up behind the scenes.
We've not changed anything, but we know
didn't change
that
anything,
all
but
20 answers are gettable.
Yes,
which is
do.
important.
We were very nervous for a while that there was some combat, like you just couldn't get some of the characters.
Yeah, like the choose your own adventure that just exists as its own answer.
Yes, but we found out that you can. There's
can.
combinations that you can get all of the answers.
So because there are, and this is, again, maybe too mathy and maybe only Wes will care about this, because there's 7 questions with 6 answers each because of all the permutations, there are almost 280,000 possible outcomes, like with all the different answers.
Jeez.
The most common, we'll just say, I think it should be kind of obvious, the most common person you can get is Dom. Everyone has at least 2,000 outcomes. So it's not like Doctor Strange, where there's 14 million outcomes, there's only one that works. Like, there are thousands of ways that you can get every character.
Yes.
And Dom is the one that people get the most. I feel like Brian is the best
Well,
category.
based on the way that we've weighted the
We
answers.
answered them. We scaled them the answers based on the characters, and we were talking about like we wanted to change it to make like bring the mean like the middle closer together, and we're like no, but like that would change how you like when you answer it, you get the character that you answered for. I feel it's honest in that sense. So
here we
just
go.
like when you see the questions, yeah, you'll see.
7 questions, 6 answers each. I'm going to read the question and the answer to you. Just pick. It's all multiple choice. Whatever best reflects who you are as a person.
All right.
Question number 1. How fast are you? NASCAR, roller coaster, Lamborghini Murcielago, Toyota Prius, Vespa, Razor scooter.
I'm going to go roller coaster.
Okay.
Yeah, good choice.
Question number 2. How furious are you? The Hulk, Kylo Ren, Christian Bale on that one set that one time, Mel Gibson, Charlie Brown, Jack McBrayer.
I think Charlie Brown.
Okay.
Oh.
We're having a barbecue. How are you helping? Are you manning the grill? Are you saying grace? Kicking back with a beer? Babysitting? Being the entertainment? Or sneaking a snack?
Entertainment.
Okay. Chris, we've got time to kill. What are you doing? Are you grabbing a bite? Are you working on your car? Are you hanging with friends? Are you drinking a beer? Are you working out? Or are you working on your computer?
I'm drinking a beer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So far, I don't know. I kind of keep the answer hidden, so I don't know. This could go a lot of different ways. I'm not
This
sure
is
who you're
fun.
going to be.
It could. Yeah.
You are married, so maybe one of these applies to you, but describe your wedding. I'm never getting married, which probably not the answer, I would hope.
Hopefully not.
I made a mistake.
It's just me and my partner. It's us and our families. It's a backyard country affair. Everyone I know is there. I don't remember.
I'm like Dom. It's me and my families.
Okay. You just won the lottery. What are you buying? Your own garage? A private plane? You're going to gamble it all away? You're buying your childhood home? a fleet of cars, or a new life?
That's a tough one. My own garage. That one works the best, yeah.
Okay.
Last question. What's your drink of choice? Now we know between these first two what you prefer, but is your drink of choice a Belgian ale, Corona, something fruity, water, whatever's cheapest, or just whatever you're having?
Whatever you're having.
All right, easy going. Joe, any guesses?
No.
I want to see here. So you are the first person on the new quiz to get this character.
Who is it?
Is it okay that I'm very excited?
You are Brian O'Connor.
Whoa!
Oh.
So, and just for reference sake, Brian is he's actually like halfway, he's middle of the pack in terms of common. So you got kind of one that's not
Nice
super
permutation
common.
you got going on there, yeah.
So here's the write-up as written by Mr. and Mrs. Wes Hampton. Your confidence might seem misplaced at first glance, but you have the skills to back it up. And if you ever find yourself in a situation you can't drive, punch, or shoot your way out of, your smile and quiet charm will usually do the trick. When it comes time to make a hard choice, you will always follow your heart and choose the path that protects your family, and you drive like the wind blows.
Wow.
Those are so fucking good every time.
That was awesome.
So we've got a couple Doms, we've got a Mia, we got a Roman, we got a Ramsey, and now we got a Brian. So welcome to the family, Chris Mollica.
Officially, yeah.
I can't believe I made the joke about Brian earlier. I feel like
You are him.
I am Brian. That might be why I feel that.
Yeah, you called it. You Babe Ruth the fuck out of that Brian right there. Damn.
Brian.
All right, so now it's time to play the game that we sort of snared you as sort of the honeypot that we got you on this podcast. This ain't no 10-second race.
We not doing the card game?
Well, that
Isn't
comes
that the
next.
last game?
That comes next.
Okay.
This ain't no 10-second race, a.k.a.
Oh, fuck,
boy,
yes.
do we have a podcast for
favorite
you.
game.
So, Chris, I want you to go on Twitter, and I want you to find any tweet,
That you want.
probably from someone who doesn't know you, but any tweet that you think the person who sent this tweet will want to know about this podcast. And so what we're going to do is we're going to send it now from the Too Fast Too Forever Twitter. So instead of at Cage Club Pod, we're going to send it from at Too Fast Too Forever. And all we're going to say is, boy, do we have a podcast for you. Link to our show page. Hashtag Fast and Furious. Hashtag 2F2F. Take your time. Go on Twitter. Find any tweet that you think might work. Bear in mind, Joe and I don't know how to play this game very well. We are both very bad at this game, so there's no wrong answers. But once you find a tweet that you think is going to get you likes, retweets, replies, or emails sent to the show, put it in our little Discord chat, and we'll go from there.
I got such a good one, but it has a slur in it, but I'm just going to read over that.
Okay.
Okay. It's from Scott Hall in 98 at LoserKid745. You know you care about that woman, but you want to be nonchalant. Finding out she fucking with another person because you said, I thought we was just kicking it. I don't want nothing serious. Now you heartbroken, crying to Tyrese songs. Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
That is not at all where I thought this was going to go.
I have no idea how to play this game.
Nobody has any idea how to play this game. That's the whole point. Yeah, it can be fast. I'm just trying. I'm trying
stuff
because I'm still in the dark on how we get people to respond.
Well, that was Scott Hall in 98 at LoserKid745. Boy, do we have a podcast for you, and we'll see if he
likes
responds.
Crying to Tyrese songs. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. I like picking ones that make it seem like a robot just searched for Tyrese. You know what I mean? Like I want people to think that it's spam. Like, oh fuck, Twitter bot found me again. You know what I mean? Like that's my favorite. It's part of my shtick.
I think I found it, but it's not one to really read.
Well,
it's more picture.
Okay,
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, totally fine. Just post it and we can describe
well,
it.
I could read the thing that says the caption, which is, "Why are you sewing in the closet and watching Fast and the Furious?"
Ooh, and there's a girl in the closet sewing, watching Fast and Furious on an iPad. This is actually really dope.
This is from Lulu Smith-Schuster, so instead of Juju Smith.
That's oh man, she's a woman after my own heart. That's awesome.
She loves the movies that much. She's just sitting in the closet, sewing, watching Fast and Furious.
Yeah, and the Smith-Schuster reference, I'm about it. I wonder if she's a Pittsburgh fan. No, Stockton, California. Damn.
All right, here I'm gonna try this. I'm breaking the rule of this tweet. I got at Shelby Kessler on Twitter. Shelbs says, watching the Fast and Furious. No one talk to me. No one interrupt me. And then she replies, unless your initials are IMG, which I don't know if that's somebody that we know.
Maybe she's looking for memes or GIFs about pictures of Fast and the Furious. I don't know.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you?
No, she actually has like IMG heart in her thing, so that's probably her boyfriend.
It's her boo. Okay, so actually, before we go any further, we didn't check if we got the last episode right. So let's take a look now.
Oh.
Let's take a look back at the episode what we did with
Update scores.
Yes, updated scores with Michael DeManico of the Not Her Again podcast. So last episode, Joe, I found at Gorgie Beezy on Twitter. Man, I want to see Hobbs and Shaw when it come out, but I ain't seen none of the Fast and Furious movies. I'm going to be so lost. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Nothing.
Yeah. Oh, makes sense.
Joe, you found Yang Yang at icy_Blath. I don't have friends. I have family. Quote Dom Toretto. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Nothing.
Yeah.
Michael found Tatiana at vibrant__pearl. My car drive fast as fuck. Got folks spotting me on the interstate. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Nothing.
Damn.
0 for 3, big swing and a miss last episode. But this ain't no 10-second race.
So this worked on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
But Joey wasn't playing the game. But Joey, which is even funnier.
Well, I played the
Joey
game.
got no
Joey-
points.
I played the game, but it wasn't for any stakes. It was just to be like,
okay.
Someone who sees, like, you're exactly who we want to find on Twitter, because it's someone who's like, who sees something that has nothing to do with these movies, and your first thought is, how can I make this about the Fast and Furious? Who's the most famous Brian? Well, Brian O'Connor, of course. Like, that's not...
Duh.
Only one name point popped into my mind.
So, I mean, you're the ideal target. It's just that I got you at a time. So, Joe, here's the question. So, if it's 1 for a like, 2 for a reply, or 2 for a retweet, 5 for a reply, and 10 for an email, what happens if the person we tweet to is a guest on the show?
I have no idea.
points?
This wasn't. No, this wasn't.
No, I'm not saying this one. Like, this
pre-established
doesn't count for
rules.
points. I'm just saying if it happens again.
I'm sorry, you'll be rewarded no points, and God have mercy.
Oh God, I love that movie. I say 50
Okay.
because you got to scale it up, right? It's like 1, 5, 10, 50.
It's 1, 2, 5, 10, 50. Okay.
I think that's we establish it now. If it happens again, that's what happens.
Cool. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
If you get invited to that person's wedding after they're on your podcast, then you get on.
And if you're the officiant, it's
If you marry
250.
their sister, it's like 1,000. Yeah, it has to be 1,000.
Because you're in the family.
You become
That's the whole
family.
goal.
You literally become family. Yeah,
That's the goal.
that's the ultimate goal of this game.
All right, we've got one more game to play. We have listeners email in car pictures to us at family@cageclub.me. Chris, I'm going to let you and Joe try to guess. So here's the game. I'm bad at this. I don't know anything about cars.
Very bad at this.
So
Very,
I
very
try
bad
to
at this.
describe what a car is that someone sent in. You guys can ask yes or no questions. It's sort of like 20 questions, and you're trying to guess what car I'm describing. Now, do you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like you should be in an auto body shop right now, 1 being essentially me, how much do you know about cars?
I'm one.
Okay.
I'm a
So
one.
this is going to be great.
Okay, it's a lot of fun.
Wes sent in a car. Oh, okay. I want to see here. So he wrote in an explanation, but I feel like it might be a bit of a spoiler. So I'm not going to read what he wrote. I'll read it later.
Okay.
But the car is from 1969.
Okay.
It's from 2 movies that we have talked about.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with this franchise. 2 movies, like 2 famous movies. The car has been in production since 1964. The one that Wes sent in from 5 years after it started being made. He said this is a first generation model. He puts in parentheses the best looking ones. And currently, I'm actually not going to give this clue because I think that might be too much of a clue.
So it's still in production.
It's still in production. It's American. Okay.
Yeah.
It is black.
Okay. That always helps.
If that helps. I feel like I can probably get this very quickly.
I think I know what it is. I'm taking a while.
I have a guess.
I think it's a Mustang.
It's a Ford Mustang Fastback.
Yep. I think it's a Ford Mustang. The years lined up for me, and once he said American, I was thinking
Yep.
Mustang.
So it's the clue. There's a couple
Sorry.
different clues here. No. Like I think. See, he wrote it in
You
because
were the
he
only one
says.
who's going to know. I was going to guess Dodge Challenger just because.
Well, again, that's
only
not
the car.
that far
but
off.
it wasn't in this franchise.
Right. Since we finally saw Point Break, I figured I'd send in a car from there. I half expected Johnny to be driving an old Charger or Challenger, but his old Mustang is close enough. It's actually a little
very
unclear
close.
what year his
Isn't there a
is. Some say
Mustang in this
70,
one?
some say 69, but they're similar enough that I'm going to say he drove a 69 Mustang in Point Break because it's the same year and model that was stolen from him in John Wick, and I love that car even though I'm not a huge Mustang fan.
That's right.
So it's driven by both Johnny Utah and John Wick, 2 of Keanu's best characters. And the last clue that I did not give was that currently it's on the 6th generation, And Wes says he knew so many people in high school with the 4th gen, and those cars look like garbage. I hate
They're
them.
terrible. I knew a kid in high school that had one too, and I'm not a fan. I agree with you. I think that the blue car of the Muscleheads is a Mustang in this movie. No, it's a Camaro. We have a Camaro and something else. Which one did he say?
Well, I wasn't necessarily saying that a Mustang's never been in these movies, but like the clue weren't about this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because again, I don't know shit about cars. They might be all over these movies. I just don't know.
On the note of You Are My Lifespan, I've actually been in a fastback 69 Shelby GT350 Cobra.
Ooh.
And it was really, really cool.
Awesome.
It was an actual one signed by Carroll Shelby in the dash.
Cool.
It was on the glove box, and it was white and blue. It was like, so in, Gone in 6 Seconds, you have the GT500, so that's Eleanor. Like, the GT350 was like the little brother to it, but it was also a very fucking cool car. So I think that old Mustangs like this are awesome, and they just came out with they just re-released the GT350, and the GT500's coming out like this year or something. It's supposed to be monstrous, so I'm excited for it.
Awesome.
Not that I'll buy one, but it's a cool car.
Cool.
Yes. So thank you. And I'm sorry. I guess that's so fast.
Just
but
crushing it. Wes, you gotta send
sometimes
some.
No. Wes gets me bad sometimes. Like sometimes like I'm way off, and sometimes I'm way on.
Yep.
There's like no real middle ground here. So.
Man, oh man.
I really should have guessed Wick's car though.
I know.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like we were
Yeah.
talking about this before we started recording, but I thought that was too much of a clue. But whatever. It is what it is. But Chris, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks for having
That
me,
was a lot of
guys.
fun,
This was
man.
awesome.
I hope that you liked it. Thanks for being part. You're officially part of the family. You are now our Brian.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're there.
So now you have a movie that you made that's on Amazon Prime for free, right? The Fix?
Yes, The Mix actually.
The Mix. I'm sorry, The Mix. What is The Mix about? Because obviously, by the fact that I can't even get the title right, I did not watch it ahead of time. But what is The Mix about for people who want to check out something you've made?
The Mix is about a guy who makes cookies at home. He's a homegrown business maker, and he's a good guy who, in order to grow his business, makes some kind of bad decisions, and then everything goes wrong.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
It's a dark comedy in 80 minutes, and you'll love the hell out of it.
And I love that it's
Nice.
short.
In 80 minutes. Yeah, same. I was just
You
going
like
to say,
that?
like, well, no, because we watch a lot of the Fast and Furiouses, and we always say, like, when we get to the front end of the lap, the hour 40 ones are great, because, like, by the time we get to 8, it's like 2.5 hours long. You're like, fuck. Yeah, but yeah, sounds awesome.
But check it out, yeah.
Which episode of Westworld are you in?
3rd episode ever is where I established the Westworld universe. So
You're like the reverse
definitely gonna
Thanos,
go-
I guess, right?
Yes.
You unsnap.
everything we could build me up to in that show, so that eventually HBO will be like, we gotta bring him back. He's reverse Thanos.
Well, this is the most popular podcast in the world, and
Yes,
people
which it
find
will
this
be.
episode, they're like, wow,
Yeah.
we never really thought about it. But yeah, Chris Mollica, he set the baseline for what Westworld is.
If he didn't turn down Dolores, we wouldn't be here today.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Thank you for being here and being part of the family, helping us through not one of the finer Fast and Furious movies, but still one that we adore, and one with the beautiful, shout out Rachel, Eva Mendes.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about her at all. Was it because she was so good in this movie?
Yes.
She's a great her acting is. I think she's the best actress in the whole movie. Honestly, like shit. Yeah, she's the only redeeming factor about this movie. I'm sorry we went all the negatives, but yeah, perfect.
But for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, you can go to cageclub.me or facebook.com/TooFastTooForever or at TooFastTooForever on Twitter and Instagram. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon, which now has the Fast and the Furious Minute, the document, as well as early listening segments of episodes at patreon.com/TooFastTooForever. And come back in 2 weeks when we continue the walk down memory chain. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
And that was Chris Mollica, and we will see you in 2 weeks for the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, right here on Too Fast, Too Forever.
Here we go. Welcome to my world, nigga. Of Cadillacs and stacks, triple X throwbacks with my name on the back. I know you see us, you wanna be us. With Jam Master J on my Adidas. Plus I ride around in 2-seaters. I hope it's cold, cause I'm coming with my heater. I'm on a feeder doing 150. Can't you tell by my cup I'm pimping? And if I hit one time, she's slimming.